Welcome, Allied Forces. Welcome to your group session, your group alignment. This is going to be an unbelievable experience. I was just getting carried away here before the record button hit, talking about what this means for a leader, what this means for a master of the group, okay? Hey, Grace, welcome to the call. Just allowing you to record this in case you wanted to. I just made this comment. This is all for Kevin. And, you know, it's a really intimate feeling to think, about what this is as a dream, what this is as an organization, as a project for you to take on and run with it and take off the runway and absolutely go off into the next direction of your life. It's no longer just Kevin trying to figure out how to sell a machine anymore. It's like there's a system, a process, a group. There's an entire organization now around this. And you guys are the next top tier, the next level of leadership, the next highest ranking officials inside of this organization. And I hope that one day, soon, that we're doing this with you at the top of this, that you're at the top of your own group session, you're at the top of your own organization, looking at your entrepreneurs being like, I can feel it, there's a wave coming, all these guys are about to get lined up and everyone's gonna basically get to the next level in their life. Now, I did open this up to people outside of the conversation. So for those of you who are watching the replay, and for those of you guys who are here as an audience member, and we're not going to be reading your numbers today, it's fine, it's all good. There's a very special reason why I invited you guys on. And there's also really, obviously the replay I wanted to have that happen, but I wanted to talk to you guys about the 22nd, okay? So numerology is all about the study of like what's happening, when it's happening, and like all the numbers inside of, your birthday, your name, your calendar. Today's no different. Okay, so today is a day 22. 22 is a day that in numerology we consider master builder. And when we look at mastery numbers, we look at spiritually inclined, like Moses talking to a burning bush here, Noah getting a vision from God, okay, like Jesus talking to God himself and being like, I'm going to do what now? And the feeling of you getting that divine architectural plan, that divine engineer, that big long-term feeling that says, I want to create something big. And so when you guys are in a 90-day sprint or a 100-day sprint, or you guys are in like a full-on launch mode right now, to have a day where you can actually set this out, pull out the blueprint, and look at your life, look at your business, look at your journey, look at whatever it is you need to look at. Could be even the story that you tell yourself, that you have been telling yourself since you were a kid. We're going to level that out today. But you guys get a chance to put it all on the table. It could just be in your mind's eye table to look at this and be like, what's serving me? What do I need to use? What needs to be sharpened? What part of me isn't actually working? What part of me needs to go? What part am I using here for my success path? What do I need to have? So to know that this stuff exists, especially on a day like today, usually fours are for foundation. Okay, if you see a 4, like 22, 2 plus 2, you're looking at a number that says, let's do the work today. This isn't about I'm going to make it super entertaining. We're going to have a great time. It's going to be awesome fun. You guys, it's going to be so spiritually enlightening and powerful for you guys, I promise you. But at the same time, we're here to lay some serious framework. You can't just call yourself Allied Forces if you're not like this, a militant atmosphere, this feeling of like command and conquer. Let's go out there and let's rule and let's go and make something happen. There's ambition, there's drive, there's force. It says it right in their name. And the fact that you guys all run this thing together, it's an absolute honor and a blessing and a privilege. I'm literally privileged to be able to do this for you guys. Like, I know it must feel the other way around sometimes, but I promise you something. The fact that you've opened me up into your life like this, I can't tell you how grateful I am. It just, the words are past me. I know what's on the other side of this. It's wealth, and wealth is financial. It's emotional. It's your time back. It's your ability to choose, your ability to decide where you want to go. What do you want to do with your time? How do you want to spend it with your family? How do you want to spend it with your friends? How do you want to go out and treat your team to something? How do you choose to create your life? And this is where that blueprint really wants to unfold. So I was like thinking, today we might as well let everyone else in on the big conversation, to let everyone else understand that we're laying down the framework. There are numbers out there that can really change your life, and today's one of them. Today is the absolute, like, imagine you guys in your mind, okay, just like put this together. I'm with you. It's just me and you right now. We're looking at the plot of land. And on this plot of land, you're going to build your house. You're going to build your business. You're going to build your life. You're going to build your family. You're going to raise your kids. You're going to raise your animals. You're going to raise your vision, your mission on this little, like, couple acres worth of land, off the grid, on the grid, wherever it is. And in comes this beeping noise. And you're like, whoa, what's that? And you're like, the trucks are here. The trucks are here. The trucks are here. And the cement trucks are coming in. The big, huge trucks with all the big pieces of wood are coming in. That, like, you know that we're getting ready. The teams are showing up. This is what today is. Today is the cement trucks coming in. We've already drawn this out in our mind, and for some of you guys who haven't, well, the trucks are here. They're ready to unload some of these big materials for you. Like, where do you want this? Okay, let's just level all of this part out. This is where I'm putting my office. This is where I'm putting my view. This is where I'm putting my thing. All of this stuff is going to unfold. So not every one of you guys are going through the same thing. Not every one of you guys are going through the exact same process. Some of you guys are dealing with stuff like loss in the family. Some of you guys are dealing with, like, a pretty close call with the, you know, the Grim Reaper's sickle right in front of you. Some of you guys are dealing with, like, you know, looking at red in the bank account, and you're like, man, this doesn't feel good. I don't know. I hope this numerology stuff works. And some of you guys are looking at this being like, I need this for my team. Some of you guys are looking at this being like, I just want to get over myself. Maybe it's a negative thing that your parents installed on you and, like, stapled to your, your bulletin board. And now you got a program that's running from your family. Perhaps maybe it's something that's happening within your friends. Whatever it is that you're unfolding in here, I challenge you to put it in front of your mind while we get a chance to work with it. Myself, like, okay, we did this before. It was a pretty powerful experience. You know, in our group session, our group meeting, I was like, man, you guys are so super cool. It was one of the best performances of my life. This is no longer a performance now. This is the hard work that we're going to do. I'm literally going to be processing your guys' energy for you. Everyone in here is doing me a huge favor by doing this, helping me do this. Also, you're watching the replay. You're also helping us, alleviate some of the energy for the people who are going through this. You don't have to go and say what you're going through. The fact that you bring it to the table, the group, the allied forces are going to be moving over this with you. It's you guys driving those trucks to everyone else's land sites. It's you guys that are going to be helping move these heavy lifting up for all of us. So I appreciate you guys for being here. With a nice, tight group like this, I imagine that we should be here for about 2 hours. Okay, so maybe about an hour and 50 minutes left. If we go a bit over time, I appreciate that. If you guys want to stick around, you can. But what we're going to do is we're just going to separate two groups here. There are the people here who have paid to be here, and they've actually put their names in. This is what we're looking at. I'm going to share this with you guys right now. This is our group, okay? This is our group of people that we're going to be talking to today. They're going to get a chance to have their numbers read, and we're going to be looking at your charts. Now, some of you guys have already worked with, and you guys are not on this chart. It's okay. You guys are here to soak in the value of the mastermind build. We're absolutely processing your energy. When we're looking at these numbers, and we're looking at these numbers and all the different 3 digits and these weird little codes inside of here, you're going to have some of them. Some of them are going to apply to you. They're going to be your story as well. And it's all about you seeing that within yourself. If you do need to have a conversation and we need to put your numbers in here as well, and I need to make sure that, you know, you're getting put on this chart as well, I do apologize that I missed you. If you need to be on here, let me know at the end and we'll absolutely get you in. But what we're also going to do for you guys is to make sure that everyone in here is going to get their own written report. You guys are going to get your own owner's manual inside of written numerology to help you guys move through this. Inside of that report, you get a full index on exactly everything that you are in depth. We're going to give you calendars that are going to let you know what's the good days to do things, the flavor of the month, if you will, and the theme of the year that you're going through for the next little bit. I think it's going to be like 1.5 years or 2 years long that we give you guys a nice little planner. So just in case you're planning on doing something big, just in case you plan on making something happen, we may want to take a look at this and see, is this a good day? Some of the stuff on there says, today's not a good day to go outside of your house. Today's not a good day to get into serious conversations. And I would say you live a few days ahead of a time, or build your business week to week. Maybe you take a look at it a month at a time. For me, I build my business week to week. So I know that at the end of the week, my next week's already packed and ready to go. And that's basically how I like to live my life. Works different for everyone. You find your own flow. Some people like to read the whole thing, and then you kind of lose it. Some people like to read it one day after, and they're like, I should be reading this one day before. But when you see that written report, I promise you, it's one of the most powerful things that you guys have to accompany this information to help you guys move through this. Also, the recordings. I'm going to give an audio recording as well. It'll be a video recording for you guys as well. Some of you guys are recording this on your own. So if there are any comments, questions, if you do want to come out and say something, you can. I'm not sure, Kev, if you want to say anything before we really truly get started. But there is also the chat before. But any words of wisdom for these guys, Kev, or what they're about to go through inside numerology before we get started, bro?
I do. Everyone who showed up today, you're putting your money into something which I know sounds crazy at the start. And it's just the way it is. But this is really the for me personally, was the gateway to understanding that there was things that I could use in this world to my advantage if I just opened up. And if I just trusted the process, because at the end of the day, we don't know everything, but we can learn anything. So this is really when I noticed the major change in myself, going from oil patch employee, guy who thought I could control the world, to going with the natural flow, and instead of trying to control the moment, being optimistic about the future. And that was the big reason of my anxiety, was I was always trying to control what was happening, because I was scared about the future, because I didn't trust it. And then I got my numbers read, and things started to fall, and I got explanations. And I think this is why I'm really jiving with this book right now, is because it's explaining a lot of the things that were unknown. And for this, for a lot of you guys, starting your business or really starting to take your business seriously, this is when internally I think the biggest shift started to happen with myself. And again, when you get your numbers done, you feel it, and it's crazy. And I'm really excited that Bobby's doing this. And again, you guys are investing, and I know it's going to pay off. So let's go rock some arithmetic here, bud.
Weirdest looking math class ever, I promise you. And thank you for the comments, Kev. Honestly, dude, you were such a freaking boss. The thing that you've done for your family and I don't even call it like your team, like this is your family. And the way that you guys have shown up is unbelievable. I had a chance to work with Pete. I had a chance to work with Trav. I had a chance to work with Chris. I had a chance to work with a few of the ladies as well. And it blew my freaking mind to think, what are you doing? Like, dude, you are creating a force that is to be reckoned with. It's not even real. And I remember Travis was with me just a second ago, like just yesterday. And the experience that we had was like, what the hell? And this is weird, because I was starting to think that this kind of stuff only happened in Australia, like literally. I was starting to think that all of the spiritual people are only out in Australia, and Kevin's been taking them all. He's been like, no, they're all with me. We're doing this on our own, and it's a safe place to actually like go in and go deep inside of who you are. Just a couple of quick little tidbits on business. 9 out of 10 of them fail, and then you look inside of numbers. I'm like, true that. Only two out of the 9 numbers actually help you get through financially inside a business. So no wonder a bunch of them fail on us, because half of us are walking around there without a name or without a version of us that actually lets us allow us to vibrate at the level of business. Everything is vibration, from the sounds we make to the light waves, the particles, to the way the grass blades go, the birds and the bees, and everything in between. It's all a symbol of vibration and frequency. Even the invisible Wi-Fi waves, even the invisible sound waves, All of this stuff is vibration.
You know what? Know something really cool, and I was just happened to be listening to. Has anyone here heard of Bob Lazar?
No.
So Bob Lazar, was this guy that used to work in they called it G2, which was a sub of Area 51. And I was listening to a podcast, and they found an element called Element 115, which is completely balanced, so it's not reactive. And I'm listening to this, and it's like there's things that are here in the United States of America that if you knew, you wouldn't be able to understand. And this sort of stuff, too, is crazy because he's like, it's here, I saw it, but we can't explain it. And I was like, oh, my God, but this guy, they think he's crazy, which I just think is awesome. But it all comes down to, they're like, how could this thing be completely stable and not react, yet apparently the United States has their hands on it. So, yeah, man, I mean, sorry, keep going. But yeah, I thought it was cool, man. If you can't see it, doesn't mean it's not there.
Exactly, and the challenge is that, we're the type of people who are like, I'll believe it when I see it, and don't believe everything you hear and see out there. And there's a lot of that skepticism because our linear focus of life, between life and death, granted, we're the most intelligent creature or animal in the animal kingdom. We've been able to transcend spirituality, language, community, family, finances, political structure. So we are separate from everything else that we understand inside of the world. And yet it's only a fraction of what's actually possible, capable, and what exists out there. And it's funny because when Kev starts talking about that, I'm like, man, I can listen to that stuff for days just to know that there's more out there that we don't even understand and can really figure out. This is one of that. This is that language. You even think about it for a second. Even back to the Bible, it says things like, in the beginning there was the Word, and the Word was with God, and it was good. And so there's a code inside of the Bible itself, inside of language itself, that allows you to express emotion, idea, thought, motivate people, rah people, help people move into power, instruct things, leave things to the next generation, define math. Everything is left in language. So what we're about to do is we're going to go matrix on this, and we're going to go and look at the numbers underneath it and actually look at the codes with a magnifying glass through what I call numerology, this lens, and absolutely provide clarity for you inside of your business, clarity for Kevin, so he knows how to approach you guys. He knows and this is why one of the most powerful reasons why the people who are here, who have their names on this list, you guys are going to be able to connect a lot deeper to your leader. And as well, I was like, hey, Kevin, I'm going to do your numbers as well. I want everyone else to see what you truly are. And this is going to be one of the most validating experiences for all of you, as well as for you, Kevin. But let's get this started. Let's dive in. Okay, so what we got here is a list of people. This list of people that we're looking at, and we're going to do this in order of people, basically, to be quite fair. This is an order of the people who paid. So I wanted to reward the early birds and the people who are going first, and absolutely do this. So we're going to have two conversations at the same time. One conversation is going to be about the general idea of what numerology is as a language. I spent 4 days teaching this inside of a course. It's 2:22 right now, guys, just to let everybody know. So there's going to be two conversations here. The one that's about the general version of communication inside of numerology, and one that's specifically designed to Rich, Mike, John, Sonia, Dustin, Margaret, Tom, and Kev, okay? So there's going to be this simultaneous back and forth that we're talking about. Were you guys to want to get involved with that, I do put a group course together, but it's a 4-day all-intensive. It's hard to put together because finding a couple hours on the weekend is tough. To think that we would be spending 4 days together doing this, it gets pretty intense. But I promise you, it's one of the most impressive languages you'll ever learn, to be able to go through this and look and see where are you inside of the bigger dynamic of the universe. Where is your level of understanding for others? So as we go through this, really, it's only 9 numbers, 1 to 9. From the 1, we talk about leadership. From the 9, we talk about humanity. So we get a chance to see them all and everywhere in between, and we're going to approach them as we go through. Now, some of these numbers are going to look fun. Some of them are going to be like, oh my God, why is it red? Some of this, I don't even know what this stuff means. If you're looking at column B and column E, just to let you guys know, the color coding in these two numbers, these two columns, are for me. So I know what's 1, what's 2, what's 3, what's 4, and so I can stay organized. If you look at these numbers here, I'm looking at, well, does it work well? Does it work smart? Is it a good number? Is it a mastery number? Is it a severe challenge, either good or bad? Does it need alignment, or does it work too hard? At the end of this, all of your business names are going to be lined up to one of these numbers, okay? They're all going to look like they've got like powerful vibrations inside of them, okay? So what we want to do is we want to make sure that everybody gets a chance to have their names lined up. This is why we do this in a group session. I will also be able to do this in a private session for you guys as well. And yeah, so what we're going to do is we're going to talk about this, and we're going to go in with, we're going to go with Richard first. So is Rich here with us? Just making sure. Rich,
Yes.
how's it going? And it would be cool if you unmuted yourself for this conversation, just so you have it, okay? So this does not replace a private conversation, okay? So when we look inside of your chart, this is what it looks like. It's actually a mix of different numbers. It looks like a web to you. Inside of here, we're going to look quite simply, where were you when you were born, and where are you today? There is going to be parts of this that are going to be missing. Like when I looked at, like, for example, Richard Allen is a really good solid vibe, okay? And then so we know that there's a piece in there, but we're not going to talk about Richard Allen. We're going to see what happens when we look at Richard Allen Hazlitt, and then we're going to see your names as they go through. I may have some suggestions for you in case you want to take a letter, but we're going to come to that as the second part of our conversation. The first part of our conversation is really entitled to helping this man figure out a few of his pieces. When I looked at this, I was like, well, isn't that something? He's got a really powerful number set, but just like everyone else, there are some challenges in our life as well. There's going to be some parts of you, Rich, that are going to be like super awesome, and a part of you that are just like, man, I wish that this part of me was this part of me is the part that's super awesome. Because he's a great guy. Absolutely, he's got a big heart. But what we'll talk about this is the first things first is your life path. Your life path 5, okay? This is going to be a warrior's life path. So there's going to be a lot of travel, adventure, a lot of that feeling of moving around and not taking no for an answer. Absolutely want to drive until there's nothing left and exhaust it all. And that ADD is going to be on overdrive with the 5. So in case it's like small things, like he's got a moving fan on the ceiling, it's going to help his energy. If you can get an open window, if you can get a mobile, a wind chime, something like a water thing, or those little tickety ticks that like keep going back and forth, anything that keeps moving inside of your space will help circulate your psychological energy. If you're ever pissed, if you're ever not in a good spot, and this goes for everyone who sees a 5 in their chart, it's just the most biggest goal for the guy like Rich. Move. If you can't figure it out, if you're stuck, if you feel like you're in a stagnant area, get up and go and walk around the house. Get up and go and walk around the block. This is John as well. Life path 5s. This is Kev as well. Born on the 23rd, born on a 5-year. Sonia, you're born in 85 as well. If you guys see 5s in your chart, there is going to be an element of travel and an element of movement, an element of ambition, and that fighter's mentality. These are people who make for strong warriors, okay? So we know that this is going to be the safest place to stand behind and not one of the safest places to stand in front of. Rich, you don't want to get into a fight with Rich, okay? The 5 in there is going to be a very strong force, but if you are in a tough place and suddenly he comes in and saves the day, you'll be glad that he's there, because that 5 is like, absolutely, I fight for my people. I do what I got to do for them. But then on the other side of this, we're looking at your names, you may be fighting a little bit harder for others than you do for yourself. Okay, like this, it could be like a compensation to think I'm gonna compensate by not taking care of me the way I want to, and then I'm gonna fight for someone else instead. Born in February, great friend. Born on the 1st, strong level of leadership. And born on 1982, there's a strong connection of partnership. This is a good friend to have. This is a really good, solid person to have. Hey, great. In friendship, you may fight, we may bicker, we may have an argument or a disagreement, but it's probably not going to be strong enough to ruin the friendship with this, because there's a lot of loyalty to the friend. He's like, you know what, Bob, I'm going to tell you what I really think. I'm going to be like, you know what, okay, give it to me, bro. Let me have it, because I appreciate your honesty. Then when it comes down to it, there's Richard Allen Hazlitt. This is your legal name. This is trapping you under boy child, infant, or young. It's like you can't take himself seriously. And this is a challenge because these names, some of you still have them. Some of you got married out of them, okay? Some of you still have them legally. If they don't show up and perfect here, Sonia Wainwright Woodbeck, she no longer has this name anymore. Dustin Sean Michael Posey no longer has that name. The only two people who had positive names at birth are there's a chance. I didn't do Sonia Wainwright Daryl. I don't know if it does work or not. We can double check that when we get there in case you guys have questions. That would be the place to look for it. But the two people who had positive names are like, they're not holding them anymore. Everyone else, legally speaking, even Margaret, you don't hold this anymore. So I'm not sure if it is positive or not anymore, but we know now definitely it is. But this feeling is to think, okay, are we going to let this name hold us back? The government sees it, taxes see it, your bank sees this, Social Security, social insurance, your like all of your passport, driver's license, all of the doctor, all of this bigger level stuff. Well, I really don't use my middle name anyway. I'm like, no, you do. You just don't use it on social media. You just don't talk about it to people. You just don't go in there. Like Kevin's running a powerful name right now, but underneath there is still a vibration to fix inside of Kevin Alexander Malik. This is where it shows up. And this is where it starts to pull on the heartstrings a little bit. Because like, well, that's my name. I like my name. Even my name is not balanced and I like it. But now that I'm getting married in August, I'm like, oh, I don't like my name so much anymore. I don't want that thing to show up on a marriage certificate. I don't want to be the guy who doesn't communicate and doesn't absolutely bring my biggest love forward. That name was the same name that got me into trouble, got me into drugs, got me into depression. And I'm like scared of it. And if I don't even get it changed properly, I'm going to make a typo there on my marriage certificate when I'm signing it, just to, kind of like move the information over just a second, just because I don't want that name to show up on my legal documents anymore. I'm sick and tired of that. And it took me about 5 years to get the courage to do that. So don't anybody with red names here go and change your name legally without me. That's like a really big, strong surgery. We're not going that far today. But just so we know, this could be one of the biggest holdbacks inside of Rich's life because of the fact that it says master at being a kid or master at being young at heart. He's got a fun atmosphere to him, great guy to crack a couple beers with, but then probably has too many beers. Or great guy to go and order a pizza and beer and wings with, but then there's too many wings and too much pizza and too much stuff at the end of it, and we're overindulgent inside of the pleasure points. The 3 just says, I just want to have fun. I just want to find the big point button of having fun. And the 9 says your heart is huge. So there's like a really big, I care for everyone, and I just want to make everyone happy, and I will fight tooth and nail for other people, or I'll just fight myself. Now, he comes out of it, Rich. You come out of this really well, because Rich Hazlitt is going to be one of the versions of you that are like there. I don't even need to put a letter here. It's got a big, big smiley face. It says king. Okay, I was going to put here king, and then we'll do queen like this. So depending on, it could be one or the other. 696, 966, male, female, doesn't matter. But to have a master balanced version, I'm in love with this name right now. Okay, this is the one that I have, 876. No one else in here is using it. But I'm in love with this number right now because I had my son 7 months ago. I gave this to him when he was born. My wife was like, we don't know what his birthday is going to be. I'm like, don't worry, I got you. The name will be perfect. This will help me go to where I need to go. So in case you're like, well, there you go, I'm set, I'm solid, this is the number I want to use, it says really solid love. It's got like absolutely caring, loving, giving, I will be there for others. This is Michael. This number right here says Michael. And if you guys know anything about the Bible again, and I'm not a Christian by any means or Catholic or anything, I just love how numerology lends itself to religion like a lot. Michael's a right hand to God, archangel, like straight up the sword of God is this number. So to know that this is next to godliness, it's a wonderful version to have. It means that you will be successful for sure, but as long as you're using Rich Hazlitt. If you're going anywhere else with this without this name, it's only as good as you showing up with that name. So I'm glad you got it on your Zoom. I'm glad you got it on your Facebook, but you may want to consider taking it to your business Rich Hazlitt Ltd. or Rich Hazlitt LLC, or even taking it to the legal point, that would be a big move. I would consider that we may be able to put a letter to this and do the same thing. Like imagine you went Richard Allen Hazlitt and you put an extra L in your name. A small, subtle change. You're not adding a letter. This is so super small. And now suddenly you're like, boom, out of the prince into the king. And you absolutely take a massive shift. Just in case you wanted to do something like that, I would say that would be the best thing ever. So in case you start renewing some of your forms or your driver's license comes up for renewal, you may want to take a name like that in order to do that, okay? Now, in terms of business, business is a funny name, a funny word, okay? Because business relies on the concept that we understand there's going to be some sort of wealth generation, or this is my business, so I want to make money doing this. And we can all agree that if business is involved, profitability, productivity, creating money is also part of the conversation. If that's the case, we need something like these. This are our business numbers. These are the numbers that hold wealth. These are the numbers that magnetize it towards it. Vandalay Marketing LLC will just work really hard, and then it'll sacrifice itself for others. So it doesn't actually generate wealth. This is the reason why you guys are here. There's a very strong spiritual story, I get it, but the real like drop the hat version, the drop the mic version of what we're doing here in the first place is to absolutely make sure you're magnetizing towards wealth. So we could talk about Vandalay Marketing LLC. We could talk about moving this thing around. If you're like, I think I should take something. It would be Rich B, Rich K, or Rich T Hazlitt. We can move you around a little bit, and you can absolutely take a number like that and you know, use it there. Let me just put this in white so we can see it a bit better, just in case you wanted to upgrade your name. But in terms of Vandalay Marketing, I think we should be putting something like a D, an M, or a V, or we can come back around. Like it would be tough because what would that even look like? Vandalay D Marketing, Vandalay M Marketing, Vandalay V Marketing. Like it doesn't quite fit inside of a brand sentence when you're using that. So keep that in mind in case you're wanting to vibrate powerfully with something like this. It doesn't always work when you've got a name looking like this. We could talk about your business fan page name. You say, I believe it was that you didn't have one yet. And I'm like, this guy's got an LLC already, but he doesn't have a business page. I'm like, well, that's crazy. So if you want, I'll give you the mic for a second if you want to unmute yourself, and we can have a back and forth conversation of where you have any questions about your chart or how we move this thing over. But if this is what you tell you know, your president, you tell this to your IRS, and you tell this to the people who are like you're making money to, you're gonna have a very difficult time because you're gonna be working really hard and it's not gonna do anything. And that's like, uh-oh, no, we need to upgrade this. So Rich, my good man, this is a wonderful name. You're here. I don't blame you if you want to keep this, but what do you think? Do you want to move this around and consider a new name, or do you want to talk about this? Absolutely, we need to have a convo about this.
Yeah, I know we have time on Tuesday too. So the business name, that's really just something that I had put together a few years ago when I was doing some other ventures. I've really not even done anything really within that LLC yet. So all of the businesses that I have currently right now, like I know you mentioned moving around and traveling. Well, I actually own a travel agency. So
nice. Cool. So, I mean, and all things considered, you own a travel agency. What are you doing with Allied Forces? Is there still an opportunity for you to create wealth then?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, definitely. So,
is that safe to say that your original brick and mortar business isn't satisfying your wealth the way you want it to?
So the travel agency is a side job as well. I actually work for AT&T for my full-time job.
Okay.
And trying to, with Allied Forces is what I'm trying to get away from, the AT&T.
I hear you. So now when you're looking at a business name, there's two sides to this guy. One part is going to be the loving, caring, and like you could hear the emotion in his heart. You care about people. And then there's the ferociousness in you, the ambitious that says, I need to do something where travel is a big part of the game. Movement is a big part of the game. And also Allied Forces feels like I can get something done in here. So we like to think that there is two sides to pick around here. We could talk about this if you want to. You could say, no, Rich Hazlitt's the way to go. Or what we can do is we can start putting together things like Richard Hazlitt, Richard Allen Hazlitt with 2 L's, or I can find you another name here. But what I want to do is I want to find you something that you can use for your business page that's going to be, like valuable for you. So any like
as far as the business piece goes, maybe we use that on the time that we have on Tuesday, because I'm kind of all over the place, right? I have Vandalay Marketing as my LLC, but I even have a DBA to that, and obviously, yeah. So there's a lot to go into with that one, probably.
Okay, no worries. So let's put it this way: you don't have a business page yet.
Not for Allied Forces, no. I do have for my travel agency.
When I'm talking about business name at this point, let's talk about fan page, okay, just to make sure. And then between you and I, we'll go in and we'll do the finer nuances of your DBA, your LLC, and make sure we're fine-tooth combing through all of them when we have that time. Inside of your business name for Allied Forces, for your fan page, do me a favor, build a brand around yourself. You have to be the one. You've got to put your name out there when you're doing this, and this will be really easy for everyone to understand. When you're out there, you're creating a brand. You're helping people understand who you are. So when you're on Facebook and you say, and it says something like, bad example, because Dustin Lamphere, the bearded architect, is just so super cool. It's like a nice looking name. It looks fun. And so it's probably going to make people be like, oh, cool. Like that sound like they're it's going to chuckle a little bit about it as they start to find relatability into it. But things like if you were to put like, let's say, build your wealth with Tom, or like Michael D. Evans, entrepreneur lifestyle, or something weird like that, people are going to flag you. They're going to unlike you. They're going to unsee your stuff. They're not going to want to see your ads or your posts because they're going to feel like they're being sold to. However, if you show up on Facebook like a name, just another name, and a name that valuably works and vibrates at a high level, it's going to start making people feel like, hey, do I know this person? And they're going to start to know you, like you, trust you before they even read your headline. And your real headline will be your business fan page name, okay? So if you're okay with it, I would say go make a business fan page by the name of Richard Hazlitt or Richard Allen Hazlitt with a double L in there, okay? That would be one of the things you could do. You could also take Richard D, Richard M, or Richard V Hazlitt instead of Rich. You could also take Rich B, K, or T Hazlitt. It's funny that you would take a letter in this case because Rich Hazlitt's already like one of the most perfect names that you've got. So I would be more likely to leave it. I would just say that that's how you should strike your force. You would spend some money on this, create an LLC by Rich Hazlitt or a DBA by Rich Hazlitt to absolutely let that thing express itself like all the way through. Go and change your call display, your email address, everything in order to use that. But if you're feeling, I don't know about that name, I want to try something else, Rich B Hazlitt, that does work, makes me feel good. Let me know now if you'd like to veer off into a different calculation of your name, or if we can run with Rich Hazlitt on a business fan page.
No, and Rich Hazlitt works.
Let's talk about it like this. Everybody's watching. There are people watching the replay, okay? We don't know if you're watching this in the future, you're watching this right now. We're all around the campfire. And right now you're kind of like on the, like the stage of this. And everyone's lending this energy towards you to make sure that your name is getting locked in, tied in, and pinged on the universe to be powerful. So the fact that it is, we know that there's going to be a strong piece of this that you grow through because everyone else is watching. So I appreciate you so much, my brother, for being first and going in with us and absolutely like building your wealth and your business with us. And at the same token, when everyone else gets a chance to move through their numbers, let's make sure that we give them the best sort of like, you can do this energy or this feeling of like, I feel it. If you're not feeling it and you want to add something, put it in the chat. Let them know, message them privately. You should take the X, you should take this letter, whatever it is. You want to sort of like let them know what you're truly feeling. With a bunch of this kind of energy, I'm not afraid to say that you guys are probably pretty intuitive and there's probably a pretty big level of psychic energy going on, but I can see which direction you want to grow into because grown-up version of like love and care shows up in the face of I fight myself or I just pretend like it's all good when really it's not. These numbers are like pulling you into two different directions. Rich has what's like the combining effect that helps you move forward. So the fact that you're like, yeah, no, I do like it. It's good. Doesn't need to be changed or messed around with. This is going to be a solid vibe. The higher you go up in these numbers, the longer it's going to take to build success, but the more generational and powerful your success will look. The smaller the number, the faster the speed, but also the lower the ceiling. So you could have a number that's got a lot of like horsepower, but no wings. Then you could have a bigger name that's got a lot of altitude, like it'll take you really, really high, but it may not quite move as fast up front. Okay, so we've got speed and we have longevity on this side. In case this name takes you a little bit longer than you'd like to build an Enagic and an Allied Forces business, it could be because you may want something like Michael D. Evans. This 358, it's fun and fast. It's going to get things moving. It doesn't need to worry about so many stuff. It just wants to get moving right away. Okay, so in case you're like, well, can I have best of both worlds? You may want to take a name like that now and then a bigger name for the future. It's a strategy in front of us, okay? So what we're going to do, and if any questions come up, just let us know. But thanks, Rich. I appreciate you, bro. And if you've got another, I will absolutely see you in a few days to go really far deep in. This is going to be a fun chart to uncover. Let's go forth. So, Michael.
Thank you.
Any other questions, Rich?
No, not right now.
Sweet.
Sure.
Okay, cool.
Things will open up on Tuesday, but for now, I'm good.
Absolutely they will. Absolutely they will. Okay, cool. So Michael Paul Evans. That's a really strong name. And it's funny as it looks this way because Mike's life path is a 9 and your name is also a 9. And I wrote a little code here just so everyone sees it. It's vowels plus consonants equal the total. So there are 9 when I add up A, it adds up to 9. When I add up all the letters in here, the consonants, it adds up to 3. 9 plus 3 is 12, and 1 plus 2 is 3 again. So when I'm looking at your name in numbers, I'm looking at it as like a way to see the cream rises to the top. You know, there's a substance in there, and then the total vibration. So when we're looking at Mike's, we're looking at your life path. It's in connection. There's a part of you in your life path that says you're a giant heart and you care. You care a lot about other people. Perhaps maybe some of this cares more about the impact and more about the service to others even than the business itself and the money itself. It's quickly not just about the money. It's never just about the money. It's always going to be about the value and the service you give, the love you give to others. On the other side of this conversation, you were born as a name path 9. Even moving forward, Mike Evans is a name path 9. So wherever you really go, we're not going to be able to move far away from this conversation of how loving you are, how caring you care for others, how much you want to do for people. Like that's a big part of the conversation when you're talking to Mike. So when we get a chance to see this, you may have to worry about this a little bit because the 9, it absorbs people's energy a lot and it can get very tired by doing this. Like a lot of this energy can be taken on. And like we look at this number inside of Kev's number, September, he cares a lot about other people, like a lot. He really does. And even Sonia, you can see it inside of yours as well. Who else is holding on to this? Margaret was born with this. Who else has got a 9 in here? Dustin, we're going to talk about this when we get here. This is a bit of an interesting conversation. So we'll leave that one alone for a minute. But this giant level of heart, it's going to be overwhelming at times, especially when you may not be able to go to all the events or stay at the party for very long or not hang around certain people. And they're just going to be like exhausted, feeling like, why do energy vampires like to pick on me? Like, is there something about you that like people are like, oh, I just gravitate towards you? It's like, yeah, you got this cosmic gateway inside of your life that basically connects a universal perspective of love and care. So at the end, like at the end of your life, like, you know, like the third part of it, when you get older, we're going to see you do things for the planet. We're going to see you want to invest stuff. And this is the kind of guys, like, you don't take any of it with you. I'm going to let it all go. I'm going to give it back to the world, that kind of stuff. But at the same time, while you are here, let's make some money. Like, let's absolutely, like, help you get through this and make some wealth happen into your life. Because, hey, you still, I don't care how humanitarian you are, you still got to pay the bills, still got to pay the Netflix, still got to go out there and get the stuff done and go on the vacations and do stuff. Like, maybe you want kids. I don't know, you already have them or not. But the reality is that you may want to actually do stuff in your life. And if you just have a life based on giving everything away to everyone else, it can get pretty exhausting and tiring. To make matters a little bit more fun, let's say this guy's born in December, or you are born in December. There's like a big kid in here. There's a part of you who's never getting older. So there's a part of you who feels really old, like ancient, like humanitarian Gandhi old, and then there's another part of you that feels like a young buck, just ready to have fun. Like, you know, let's get the tattoos, let's go crack some beers, let's have a fun time. This is a great guy to crack a couple jokes with. You just want to make people feel good. That feeling of that 3 is like the primary version of love. It's like the baby love. So it's going to keep you looking younger. You're going to, it's hard to see it now because you're only born in 91, so you still look young. But when 10 years from now, when you still look like you're, you know, like young, it's going to be very apparent that for the first 27 years of your life, the 3 doesn't affect aging. It just doesn't want to get older. So in terms of getting serious in life, a part of you just doesn't want to get serious, or even taking yourself seriously. It's like you'll be the loving part of your joke. You're going to want to just be that loving, joking, friendly guy. And it's not a bad deal. But I've got friends born in December. My little girl's born in December. But there is a place in your life that we have to respect that says, look, I'm going to be a kid. I'm not going to be an adult just yet. There is a stage for adulthood. And it happens right around the age of 27. And you're like, uh-oh, I'm like right there right now. That's like literally where you're at. So you're at this transition point where you're going to put away the childish things. I get it. Fine. I'm going to be an adult now. But there's also this switch that turns on that says, I do want to take myself more seriously. I do want to go and build a business. I absolutely want to lay down the framework or the connection into something big that's going to happen. I'm ready to work. I had my time in the day, my time in the sun. I had time to have fun and go and do fun things. And it was a great time, absolutely. But now you're heading to the second period of your life. Like, we're talking hockey here. Like the second stage now, the second round, you're out there to actually create some wealth, create family, do stuff. The 4 is like, all right, let's lay down the infrastructure. Let's lay down the groundwork. Let's lay down the foundation. Connected with the 9 speaks to think you're going to help the world with a level of ground foundation. So that the 3 was fun, but the 4 is going to be very practical. Like, wants to get the details, wants to know the linear, the logic, the detail stuff of it, which can be pretty tough with numbers that are pretty spiritual. So there is part of you that's like, I get down, I know how to meditate. And then there's another party that says, I also get up early in the morning and do what needs to be done and get the job done. The 4 will absolutely show up and be like, put spirituality aside for a second. I'm going to go out there and I'm going to smack the hammer. I'm going to make sure I get my nails in there. And the 4 will help you do it. But you got a big heart, so we know that when going gets tough and you run out of like energy to do stuff, the love that you have to see things through will take over and will continue your passion moving forward. At the end of this, 55 years and older, we see a value here that goes back into its 2. So we're going to go back or down into its 2, I should say, that says partnership. So you just want to hold someone's hand. You just want to help someone. You just want to take care of someone. Could it be mentoring? Could it be coaching? Could it be donation or charity work, humanitarian, philanthropy, whatever it is? You're out there in the front lines being like, look, I'm just going to go out there and help people. But at the same time, I just want to hold someone's hand. Could be your kids, grandkids, could be your the special someone in your life. Absolutely is going to be there, okay? So then we look at your names. Now, this is where it gets a little challenging because this number is the same as being neurotic, trapped in his head, overthinking, a feeling of like, oh, what did he mean by that? That over churning of the hamster wheel, like stuck on the wheel. The 7 can meditate and can think about a thought. The 2 makes a connection with the thought, and the 9 goes off forever. So when we look at it in Mike Evans, we see it again. When we look at it in Michael Paul Evans, we see it again. One of the wisest people out there, but may not have one of the strongest voices out there. So when we were and on the contrary, Michael speaks from the heart. Michael is a really solid name that says, look, I care and I love and I give. So to have you with all of these different spaces and pieces inside of you, I would say this would be a really powerful conversation to have privately when we get in there. But when we're looking at a name, we did this for you already, Michael D. Evans will get you going. It's going to keep you moving. At certain points, you're going to become the leader that you've already seen in your mind. Don't lie, you've seen this in your head. The success, the big, overwhelming success. But this name won't last at that moment. So if you want to find a bigger name now, we can. If you want, we should put a name on top of Mike Evans. You could also put Michael D. Evans as your Facebook name. But this one is telling the world that you're just going to think about what they're saying and you're not going to actually like express it back. This can get really trapped and this can go off for days and trapped in its head and just stuck with an idea, like fighting the ghosts that don't even exist. So I'd like your thoughts on this, because if you were to go Mike Evans, you would have a choice of, let's see here, F or X would take you here. So you can go F or X. And then you could also go O, would take you Mike O. Evans. And then also there would be HQ or Z, which would be here. So you have some options for letters inside of Mike Evans. We could also pull out these same letters for Michael Paul Evans. Like Michael Paul X Evans would take you here, I think. Yeah, 786 X. So it would take you here. You could take that if you take Michael Paul Evans. But what's your idea on this? How do we build a name for you?
That's what I'm trying to think, just because like how you said the D, you know, like the D is going to get you going, but it's not going to last long. So I'm trying to think of what's, you know, what could be a longer lasting one that's going to fulfill that purpose. But I don't know, nothing's particularly.
Okay, let's talk about it like this for a second. You're currently in a 7, 8, 9, 1. You're in a brand new cycle. Interesting enough, you're also 27 this year. Is it this year or next year?
I'm 27 now.
Okay, so you've launched. You're in a new stage of your life. You're in a new 9-year cycle. It's going to take you into like 35 or 36 or something like that. This feeling in here is to think this name may last you 6 months. It may last you 12 to 18 months, but after that, we're looking at getting something a little bit more powerful. If you're looking for a more powerful looking name, Mike O. Evans or Michael Paul X. Evans would work. Michael X. Paul Evans would also work, or Michael Paul F. Evans would also work to move that vibration up. If we were to look at even Michael H., Michael Q., or Michael Z. Evans also works really, really well for a long-term name. This one, I wouldn't be too afraid of it. It will get the ball rolling. It's kind of like getting a running start and then take the wheels off and put the wings on. And this is where you're like, oh, I'm ready for 6-8. Quick, take Michael D. Evans out and put in another number, and then now suddenly you'll keep flying. So we're going to I just want to try another one. I just want to try, like, just to move around with some stuff. Let's try Mike Paul, okay? Mike Paul A, or Mike Paul J, or Mike Paul S. Let's try another one. Let's go Michael Paul. Let's see what this one shows up as. This one we would need something a little bit more like a D, M, or V, Michael Paul V, or even a F or an X, Michael Paul X, or Michael O Paul, or Michael X Paul would work really well as well too. That would be another option there. You're looking for that buzz, that buzzy feeling, okay? Like and you can even sign it out. Like go and take a pen and be like, all right, let's try this. In my personal opinion, Mike O. Evans, Mike H. Evans, or Mike Z. Evans, Mike Q. Evans, those are the big hitter names between me and you. But at the same time, Michael D. Evans, I like it right now. because I know what year we're in. I know that you're in a fun, or a brand new beginnings in your world. The world is in a fun space right now. 2019 is a 3-year. So for you to really capitalize on it for the next 6 to 12 months, you're okay to hold on to this. But as a bigger version name, you may want to consider what this is going to mean for you. Could be Michael Paul. See, like Michael Paul X Evans is like really solid, like something like that. Or even Michael X Paul Evans, like that, like supremely powerful, would look really strong for branding as well. Or Michael F Paul or Michael Paul F Evans, really strong again. I just like the letter X because it just looks like X-Man, like it looks pretty powerful. But those are more serious levels of names. Are you okay with Michael D. Evans right now, or is it already giving you a feeling of anxiety, thinking, shit, I should have a stronger name?
I mean, I like the idea of it. Like when we had on that, you were on the call last week, our last team meeting, and like that stuck out to me. So if that's still going to be good to get me going, and it's a good idea to start off there, but change it, then great. But if it's a better idea to, go big, then I'm cool with that. But that stuck out to me.
Yeah.
Last time when we talked,
Me too. And the thing is that I'm looking at strategy. I want to see what's going to be the bigger thing in here that we get a chance to use. I would like to say that this is actually the best one for right now. But
okay.
you're going to feel it. When you feel it, you're like, I'm 5A, I'm turning 6A. Something doesn't quite sit right anymore. I think I need to shift this around. Then we would be talking about getting a bigger name. But on the big side of this, Mike Evans, something's got to change here. Either you take the same letter here, Michael D. Evans, and you put it here, or we find something else to use with Mike Evans, but totally up to you.
Yeah, what else could I use on the middle one, the one you're on right now, on Mike Evans?
You could go, let's see here.
H-O-Z or Q?
H-Q-Z or O or F or X. Let's try Mike Evans, and let's go X. Yeah, Mike X Evans, Mike O Evans, Mike F Evans. Again, more powerful ones are like the O, like that. Sorry, it's like this. 876. That's a really solid one. But those are also like names you could use for a bigger version of you as well. And then also, where was it? H, Q, or Z. Those are really good. Like if you were right hand to God here with Michael, then the vibration of God speaks inside of this one. And Kev's running this one too. So it is a nice vibe, but it's almost begs the question to think you're more serious than in your personal life. And this is only just a placeholder to get you running. And then you pop the name on there when you're ready to make a shift.
Cool. Yeah, I like the Q. I don't know why that just stuck out.
Cool. So Mike Q Evans, let's do it. Boom. And as you see this, like you're getting a massive upgrade, man. Like this is like zipping into your power. Like absolutely. Like this number says partnership. This number says love. And this number says money. This number says fun. This number says speed. This number says money. So you're hitting it from both angles right now. Like literally both angles. Your personal side, you come in more on the serious nature. And on your business side, we're just having fun. No big deal. It's all good. And then when they get a chance to see you on your personal side, they get a chance to meet the bigger version of you, Mike Q Evans. So change it. We're going to change it. Let's do this. I'm doing this right now. Let's go and rename you, Mike Q Evans. Boom. Okay, let's do it. And I'm going to change it inside of your Zoom. There you go. So we got Mike Q Evans here, guys. Like seriously powerful. Like own it, feel it, meditate on it. If you feel like it's the wrong name, it's okay. Just make sure you let me know later or at the end of the call, before the end of the call. But for me, it feels good to have something like this. Okay?
Yep.
Sweet. Any questions at all?
No, man. No, it's perfect.
Nice. All right. My boy, John Robert Darrell. So are you with us, buddy?
Yeah.
Cool, man. How you feeling?
Good. How are you, man?
Really excited to see this, man. Really excited to do this for you. This is a really big chart. Okay. I was looking at your numbers here and I got a chance to see this at the same time, you and Sonia. As a Life Path 5, we got your fighter right here. Okay. So we know that this guy's going to go through some stuff. There's going to be a fight that you're going to win. So that's going to be one of the biggest things we have to set the gauntlet down right now. A fight that you're going to win. You're going to win this thing. So whatever you have to go through, you're going to champion over top of it, no matter what. The 5 is like, get rich, die trying. And that feeling of that 5 is absolutely going to make sure it goes down that way. Not someone you particularly want to argue with. Okay, again, we have a life path 5. Even when you're wrong, you're right. And you're going to end in your 5/5. So there's going to be a large level of travel, ambition, which you're gearing up for the bigger war in life. Now, this is, again, a tale of 2 men. Because on the other side of this fighter, we got like the sweetheart, a very loving, caring guy, will do whatever he can do for his fam, absolutely wants to be the father, wants to be like that. I'm going to take care of my people, a leader inside of your business, and also like a really big kid. This is a very interesting, my lady Sally, she was born on June 3rd. You're born on June 12th, so same kind of deal. But the value here is that seriousness up front, maturity up front. There's a party who wants to act immature and go and do stuff and throw the punches and have the fights and have that big shift. But on the other side of your heart speaks for something really big and powerful. That 6 inside of June will get you slated for kids right away. You're going to feel like you want to be there for like family and stuff right away. Let's see if I can just do this real quick. Where am I? I think I've got someone in here who may just want to be muted. Unless that's you guys, it's all good.
It was us, our dog.
No, it's all good. Okay, so dog in the background, no worries. But we have this love feeling inside of the 6, and we have an even bigger, like a big kid feeling inside of the 3. What's really cool, I'm just going to do it like this so I can see this. Just give me 1 minute because I know it's a little bit blank for me. It's going to hurt my eyes unless it's up. What's interesting is that I looked at this because I'm looking at Sonia's chart as well. You both have a 3 and you both have a 5 in the same center points of your life. Yet you share different places that you come from. When we're looking at money, we're going to look at money for a minute. Or let's look at wealth. Okay, let's look at creation of it. You either work hard for it, you make it work, like you feel good about creating it, or you make it work for you. Inside of love, we see that there is a sweetheart, like romancer, we see daddy love, and then we see grandfather love. These are the numbers that show up here. So the fact that you guys both have the numbers for wealth are showing up inside of your chart makes this like a really powerful dynamic duo that you guys bring in together. Like you come in from this side, you come in from this side, and then you both combine in and create the force of the 3 and the 5 throughout the rest of your lives, okay? Now, when we look at this 5, we see that there's going to be a warrior side of you, but when we look at the 6, yeah, it's saying I'm a lover, not a fighter. You're both. There is the I fight for those who I love. I fight for those who I care about. That will take you down some fun path because the 3 and the 5 is going to be tempted to do the fun things, like, like let's just go and spend money and let's go and have fun and let's not, be so disciplined here for a minute. I just want to go out there and drink and smoke and eat and enjoy, and it may not be the most disciplined version of you. Whereas the 6, it suddenly turns into this value of like, hey, I gotta get this done for my family. It may not show up as much or as strong for you as it will for your people. Now, the problem with John Robert Darrow, you're still using this, right? Like this is it's fighting itself, and you may not even want to admit it. That feeling of like the challenge that goes within can kind of be like you're harder on yourself than you are on others. If other people do something bad to you, it's like, oh, it's okay. But if you do something bad against yourself by chance, you'd be like, that's what you get. And that feeling of that 5 is going to challenge itself. But when it comes to others, you're going to show up and be like, oh, it's all good. No big deal. So it's at odds with itself. This would be actually all of you guys here would be candidates for legal name changes at a certain point in your chart. But in case you were to line this up really quickly, it would be like John U. Robert Darrell, or John Robert U. Darrell, or John Robert C. Darrell, or John L. Robert Darrell. You could also take something like N or W, or the letter E. So, John E. Robert Darrell, or John N. Robert Darrell, or John W. Robert Darrell. We'll talk about this when we get more in depth into your personal conversation. If in case it does happen, we're putting like a 2 years on this. It's not happening right away. But what we are going to look at is this one right away. It's tough to say this to a guy because this is like the perfect housewife number, okay? Like 336, you're going to be the loving, caring, like trophy husband here, okay? Like absolutely, Sonya's going to want to just wave you around and you're just going to love looking good and feeling good and being that like big kid who just always cheerleads for the family. It doesn't quite help you in business. So it works well, it does, it looks good, but it also, it's like it lacks the ambition to get things moving forward. And you're like, oh man, there is no lack of ambition. Let me tell you, I am absolutely fucking committed. I am like gonna, I'm like fireball my way through. This name is kind of like, da, 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 da. I'm just gonna, flower, squirrel. And this name doesn't quite match the ambition and the fire underneath you that like wants to get moving and keep it running. So quick fix, John Darrell takes a B, a K, or a T. Or if you want to go a little bit further, we can go and do something like John Robert actually is a name that will work. Okay, just so I can see this, in case you're like, look, I'm ready to do this. Just so you know, okay, and this should really, like, this is your name. This isn't even a joke, man. This is like seriously a part of your actual like destiny, is that there's a global visionary in here. And I have the exact same thing happening inside of mine. I don't quite use it yet. It's somewhere, I have pages by this, but it's not ready to go. My name, Balwan Francisco. It's that I was here to do some pretty epic shit on this planet. And same thing with John Roberts, that you absolutely have the natural occurring Balaj vibration, if you will, inside of your first and your middle name. So in case you're like, babe, can I take it? Can I do it? You mind if I do this? Because you're going to need support from the missus on this. You can't just do this by yourself, especially when you're the loving, the caring, the like, you know, the romance and like all of this like super loving daddy mode. This is like, I'm going to change the world in a minute. So this may be even a little bit too much. You could even take it down a step and go like, what is it? John G, John P, or John Y Robert. Like Johnny Robert, Johny Robert would move you one step back, and now you have everything in focus. Would have like, you know, the business up front. Then you have, this is what I call all-star. Has the business up front. Then it's got the intuition on the center. And then it has the family to resolve itself. But you could also just say, all right, I'm just gonna take the fun path for now. I'm gonna pull me a Michael D. Evans here. I'm just gonna run this thing first, and then right when I'm ready to step into my big version of me, bam, I'm gonna drop into John Robert, and let's keep the good times rolling. But it's totally up to you. Any thoughts on this name or what you want to do with it?
I'm not really sure. Just trying to digest everything you just said, you know.
All good. It's all good. Sorry, yeah, you want to add?
Yeah, probably just start with something simple, like what you're saying. I mean, the funner path, just adding the middle initial for now, and then later on switch it.
Let me just try something here. I just want to make sure that I can see this, and let's go and just do this. I want to see if there's something else in here. If you go John Robs Darrell, so like JOHN ROBS. I just found another one just to make sure that it's there. So this is like this, John Robs Darrell. Okay, so there is that vibration that would also work. You could also do Rob J Darrell like that, in case you wanted to consider something a bit in the middle with still mastery. However, based on your chart, just look at your numbers here: 5 and 3. 5 and 3, 5 and 3 show up here inside of your chart. To take a BK or a T may not be the worst idea right now. If you're like, dude, that's a lot to take in all of a sudden. I'm like, you know, one side of me is super ambitious. Some part of me is really fighter. Part of me is like long-term vision. I don't even know what to do right now. The easiest way to move you into this conversation would get you started and put a John B. Darrell. And John K. Darrell, John T. Darrell. I would say John B. because, you know, like if you're looking at Robert, short for Robert is Bob. So it'd be the most authentic to take a name like this. And at least that way you get the process started. You kind of pull in your fun boy, you pull in your warrior, you pull in your business, all in the same conversation. And this will absolutely help you to not really look like you're changing, because you still have that 3. So you still have that the fun pleasure part of you up front. but it also now magnetizes itself towards wealth. When you're ready for the switch, could be a year from now, you'll absolutely move forward. Is that fair?
Yeah, absolutely. That makes a lot of sense.
Cool. Okay. Yeah, I like that. And again, for anyone else in here, for you, Rich and Mike, if it doesn't quite, you're just saying it, you can change your mind. Okay, John. So if you're like, yeah, it totally makes sense, and at the end you're like, ooh, it doesn't make sense anymore. We are going to meet in a couple of days as well. You can quickly just we can readjust it and crank it in. It has to feel good, but this right now feels really good. John B. Darrell. Okay, so I like the way that looks, and we're gonna look at your business name between the two of you. It's funny how it says Angel Guides. Like, this is funny how it looks like that, and I'm like, you guys together are like angels combining. Okay, so there's something about, and I mean, you guys must know these people a little bit better than I do, because obviously, you guys are in the same group, but there's a magic between you two. There's something that came together between you two that needed to happen, and the fact that you guys are experiencing this, it's like, oh, cool. And then I looked at this, I'm like, no kidding. Like, there's power in here, but the problem is this doesn't say business. There's nothing wrong with you guys, but this is going to go through a lot of challenge trying to make money. So if this is the name you spend money on, we really have to reconsider this. I'm going to get into this after we cover Sonia's, because we're going to do yours right now. But just so we know, we got to change this. There's got to be something else that happens inside of here. Otherwise, this isn't a vibration that I would use for creating wealth. It is one that I would use for getting a spiritual divine message. But pretty cool, awesome stuff. Any comments? Any questions, Johnny?
No, I don't know. I like it.
Cool. All right, Sonia Wainwright Woodbeck. You got a solid name, all right, and you've changed it legally into Darrell?
Yeah.
Okay, so you're no longer using this, but your original vibration is very interesting, because you see this 7 and this 8. We see a 7 and an 8. We saw the 5 and the 3, the 5 and the 3. These are like old soul stuff. When we see numbers that match in your name, that match in your birthday, it starts to give us an idea. Like, Mike's name was a 9, his life path was a 9, his short name was a 9. Like, he's been here before, all right? Like, in case you guys don't understand what that means, it's like the soul lives hundreds of thousands of lifetimes. And you guys are like, I know, no big deal. I feel really old. But the 7 inside of your chart will give you a wisdom. It will give you a depth to you. You're a mind reader, okay, Sonia? Like, you can get in there and know what John is thinking. You're planting, inceptioning thoughts inside of him, and it's almost like he's like, you can kind of like know when he needs to give you energy. You're speaking a lot in the spiritual side, but it may not also speak up for what it's going through. So just to think about this and think about your story and think about your path. This 7 may just be blocked in communication. This blockage in communication and his intuition of like moving things forward and moving things through can be a very difficult version of having to process things with your health or things from your body or things from your soul. It can be like collecting info, but when it comes to expressing it, the 7 is like, quiet, I'm just going to let go and let God. I'm going to pray myself through this. And it may be a block inside of your communication. That can be forcing you physically to have a really strong experience negatively against your health. Now, moving forth, because I know that this obviously has like a strikes a chord inside of your actual story. Moving forth, we still see you were meant to do it. And we look at this number here, 835, 538. Your birthday looks like a name. And it also looks like John B. Darrell if you look at it in a certain light, to think that this is going to have a merit to it. It's going to have a power to it that we're going to see. That, again, we see now another version of a woman, of a tale of two women. One part's going to be the quiet and the intelligent. You come in as the brain, okay, with lots of the smarts and intelligence and the wisdom. And another part wants to come in having fun and just enjoy and be that, like, like the cosmetician. And the feeling of like, let me perform and let me make something happen. Let me produce something pretty. And then the other side says, I'm not just a pretty face. I also have a really strong level of like cerebral information. I can actually go out there and do stuff in the planet. This is tough as a kid. You're holding on to adult energy. Both of you, as children, you're more serious. And this more serious than average people at your age. They're wanting to go and do fun things. I get it. You go and do fun things. But you don't express your childhood until you're 27, both of you. So it's nice to see that, but it's a little bit more alleviating to think, oh, the worst is behind me. Okay, the most difficult part you've had to grow through up front. When you get to 27, the coast is clear. Now you guys get a chance to be big kids, and you also continue through the major version of your lives without getting older. You're going to do this without basically like looking your ages. So when you guys turn 55, you'll look like somewhere around early 40s. Like just like we're in a legacy business. Like just watch. In the next 15 years, these guys will only have aged 5 years. And it'll be fun to see that because these threes, they don't want to get older. And we can even see it in Mike's baby face. Don't let the stubble fool you. He shaves and he looks like he's 12. Okay, like the feeling is going to be inside of this for you guys as well. You found your childhood. And it's nice. Date nights, sweet loving romance, make sure you bring her flowers, all that stuff shows up. That stuff is going to be there for you guys to enjoy yourselves. And people are going to be like, oh, you guys are so cute. Oh, you guys are so adorable. You're going to be like, oh, like hashtag couple goals for everyone out there wanting to be like you guys. And like that feeling shows up inside of the threes that you keep the magic alive. The romance is there. And then comes in the very valuable, this is where the big fight comes in. And not the fight between you, but the fight between you guys and the world. We banded together. We're here. We're warriors. Let's do this. We got the wizard on this side and the warrior on this side. But there's a lot of travel. There's a lot of movement. And there's a lot of shift. There's a lot of change. And this is where you guys end. Like this is where the lives will end one day. And this is where we get a chance to go through that part of the story to say, I'm going out with a bang. And I'm going to go out and I'm going to make this life something so sincerely powerful. Cav goes through the same thing as well here. Now, looking at your names, I just want to check because you did change your name, and it may not have been because you had a good solid name to begin with. So is it still Sonia Wainwright Daryl now?
It is, yeah.
Okay, so let's go and let's take a look here. Thank goodness your name actually looks good. Okay, so marriage was good to you. You didn't get a weird-looking name. Your name looks good. You do not need to change it. I would still recommend that John does, but you're like you were born with balance. You married and still had balance. But then short version of this, it needs some help. It doesn't actually work the way it wants to. So there are some things we can do with this. But right now, this one, it just works really hard. You work to exhaustion, and you overwork yourself. And it's going to be this feeling of like, I'm never going to be put down. The show must go on. But this is like a really fast car with no brakes, or like a train, or like a raging bull, like this grounded, stubborn 4, and then the fire of the 5, and the nonstop of the 9. Sonia Daryl's like a force to be reckoned with. Like nothing will take you down. And, lo and behold, here you are. So I would be like, why is this? Just make sure we stop at the bank first. Like, I know that you're not going to stop and you got this, like, I want to punch through the wall. And I know that you're going to break it. But we want to at least make sure you're breaking records. You're smashing the top end. You're making the bank go, whoa, whoa, whoa. And right now, all of your work gets given to others. And you're not complaining. You're a really smart woman. And you're just like, you got to do what you got to do. And that's going to be the responsibility of the 4. It's like the necessity, responsibility. We see that nasty 4. The 4 here is like, let me work for my money. Time is money. So it's going to be really connected into there. Whereas we want to get into the money makes me money. I want to get into the 8. Like my time and my wealth is magnetic. And you know what that feels like, August baby, born as a life path 8, name path 8. We know that your intelligence is there, but we absolutely are missing the ball here when we're looking at Sonia. So what we're looking at is a vibration of this. You could choose, 4, 5, 9, right? So 1 would be the letter O. You could take Sonia O, Daryl. And then there's another one you could go with Sonia F or X, Daryl. And then you could take, the other one would be, let's see here. We're going to look at Sonia Darrell, and you can even take Sonia Wainwright Darrell in case you wanted to just use that. But we could also take, let's say we're pulling out your massive clean mode. You'd be going with an EJ or an ES. Okay, so same thing like Kevin took the EJ. So you go Sonia EJ Darrell, Sonia ES Darrell, or we could even take, let's see, how would that one look? EA Darrell, no, that would just be O. So Sonia O Darrell, and then there would be EC Darrell would go up here, 988, or EL Darrell, or LE or CE. So there are 2-letter combinations you can take, but it's either that or taking a single letter. Did any one of those really, like, you could even go something like this and go Sonia Darrell and just kind of misspell your last name. Some people are like, I'd rather not do that. I personally wouldn't do that, but everybody's different. I have had people who did do that. But you could hide some of those letters in there. Any personal super strong preferences inside of these numbers that we've picked so far?
I don't know. I don't know the right answer.
There really isn't the right answer. But what I would suggest is, in terms with what your hubby has done, if he took fun and fast, you can take slow and steady. And we looked at your charts again earlier, and we're like, hey, these things click together pretty well. So if he's kind of like, look, I don't know, I should just take something fun right now, then so should you. You should say, you know what, let me take something sturdy and solid, and especially if health has been one of the bigger challenges inside of your life, to absolutely solidify your physical frame and to make sure that you're taking a discipline in your actual body and your craft. This would be like the best thing ever. Sonia F or Sonia X Darrell. How does that feel if you read it like that? Would you prefer the F or the X, or do you think that we missed the number there?
I think I like the X better. Yeah, I like the X better than the F.
Cool. So let's do it like this. And then what we'll do is we'll run a vibe like this for now. It probably won't last you forever. Okay, these numbers would call you to a bigger version of yourself as you get better. But at the same time, these are wonderful things for making sure, like, your disciplines are in order. The family's taken care of. This is a nice structured place. And then here comes in the fun, the enjoyment, and like the passion. So it will really connect with each other. This is like power couple stuff. Now we take a look even further, and we're like, we need to fix this. We need to find something inside of here that's going to work for both of you. So let's just try John, Sonia, and let's go like this. So perfect. If you guys wanted to make a subtle change, what I would do is I would do this. I would take out the and I put an X in there. Okay, so it would be John X Darrell and John X Sonia Darrell just would stand for and. So you could do something like this would work really well. How does that feel?
I'm good with it. I like it.
Okay, let's do it like this. And now what we're going to talk about with this name here is a value of leadership, a value of intuition, and a power of business. So this will be a more serious take. This isn't fun. This is philosophical and like deep conversation. And like, I'm going to be quiet about this, but I'm also going to be like that sleeper success. Like, doesn't need to go and wave it from the mountains. It's much more of the deeper part of your business and the deeper part of yourselves. You'll create a really solid brand with a name like this, but maybe it might change in the future. You may want to keep going as you grow older. Any questions, guys?
No.
Our daughter does call us couple goals, by the way. She always says, couple goals.
That's awesome. Your kids are doing this to you? Your little ones are doing this to you? That's fun, man. That has to be pretty fulfilling. I remember feeling that way with my parents when I was a kid. Just looking at them, be like, I want that when I'm older. I still want to be married to my, I don't want to go through divorce and all that kind of stuff. And, I'm glad that you guys have banded together, because this is going to create some powerful stuff. But John X Sonia Darrell, you could even go like this and go, this would be a little much, but at the same time it would still work. Because if you're Sonia X Darrell, that would also work. It would do the same thing. Okay, so just in case one or the other wants to show up, I like to think this may confuse people when they're reading it. So if you could move this out and do less things, then it might look a little bit better to do something like that. But
Totally.
yeah. So let's keep moving then. No questions. Okay, good. The bearded architect. This is a really cool one. I want to bring you out, man. First of all, big hype up on the beard. Absolutely, just a man rug. I love that thing. I want to make love to it. Just kidding. But I absolutely just like, when people look at you, you're like, my eyes start up here. You're like, huh? And this is when I see that thing in its full glory. But I appreciate you being with us, Dustin. It's a really absolute pleasure to have you, my good man. Let's talk about your life path first things first, okay? This 6 is the most balanced number. You hit the jackpot with your life path. Your name is absolutely not so bad either, seeing as it looks really cool and close to your birthdays, the birthday numbers in your birthday. But when we're looking at the 6, you see how it occupies space inside of love and wealth? This is like, I want to get married. I want to have a family. I want to be a leader. I'm going to help create money. I'm going to make really solid love one day too. There's this emotional connection. You're not afraid of your feelings. All right. Like, you're not just going to be like, but you're going to be a soft, like a big teddy bear version of this as well. The 6 inside of there, you're emotionally mature, emotionally responsible, intellectual as well. There will be a strong point for spirituality in there too. But the 6 shows up as the best number out there. I'm glad I have it in my birthday because it just makes me feel good. John has it as well. It gives you a serious outlook up front in life, okay? So the fact that you got this, it can be mature. On the negative side of this, you balance everything else out except for you. Everyone else gets the best of you except for you. The self-love journey can be a really challenging feel, especially when you have to have this number in your chart. We give our love out, but we don't actually give it back to ourselves. And you can tell me that you don't, but I look inside of your numbers. I'm like, no, I see it here and here as well. When we look at this leader, independent, you're not going to be afraid to say stuff. When you say things, it's going to have substance to it. When you get a little bit older in life, this is like this year, next year. How old are you right now?
29.
So 2 years ago, things got serious. This feeling got serious. It shifted the same way that Mike's in that shift to a 4. You went to a shift to a 4 too. You guys want to build your own organizations. I would be talking to making sure your uplines and Kevin knows this, that you're here to mentor. You're here to get mentorship so that one day you can have your own fence. You can have your own connection, your own version of what you need to show up with that's absolutely going to be powerful. So I know that these 4s want to create something big. They're like not afraid to lay down the groundwork, but you also want to make a house into a home. Okay, so we have that in there. But there's a really strong version of this that says leader. So this shows up at the beginning, at the end of your life, in the middle of your name. It shows up in your life path. We see a strong connection to you being independent and you also being able to stand up on your own. So we know that this is going to be good at like speaking to others and doing things for others, but you have to show up as a leader for yourself in your own right. In the middle of your life, we're not afraid to let you get some of this bigger work done. It can be tough on the mindset because the 6 is like, look, I'm going to make solid levels of value in my love life as well as in my wealth. But then the 4 comes in, and this is your name at birth. Okay, did you say 6 years old that you switched your name over?
No, I was 8 when I got adopted. I've never gone off from Sean Michael Posey. It's always been Dustin Michael Lamphere, but it was legally that until I was 8.
Wait a second. So it was legally Sean or Dustin Sean?
Yeah, it was legally Dustin Sean until I was 8, but I've never gone off from that name.
That's okay.
So my father was never, like, biologically was never in the picture.
Okay, that's fine. And that's a conversation to have because, egoically, characteristically with your personality, what you're saying holds a lot of value. And then numerologically speaking, you were still born day 1. You still came in like this. Whether you identified it from day 1 or not, or legally at a certain age or not, you got a chance to move a shift over. So I do want to look at that. I want to see, well, where are you now? And to think that where you are now is going to be a strong version of this, let's just take a quick look. So it's Dustin Michael Lamphere now?
Yep.
Okay, so let's take a look at this, and let's do this, and let's go Lamphere. this is a challenging vibration. So you had one that worked, and then a new number comes in to get you trapped in your head, the same problem that Mike had. That same feeling of like overthinking stuff and going through things and having difficulties and maybe coming up to an idea, maybe a little bit of a challenge inside of a name that you currently hold. Out of the fire and into the frying pan. Okay, so this number here is like, I work really hard. And then the next number says, I just can't seem to communicate it the way I want to. In the face of solid level of communication. You can hear it when you talk. This guy's got a solid voice. You may not say everything all the time, but when you do speak, it actually has a strong level of power that you can rely on and connect into. What I would still consider is that we've got some work to do here. There is something else that needs to show up. Can we try Dustin Mike Lamphere? Can I just try it? I'm just going to see what this looks like. We're going to come up with a name. No, it's not that. Okay, so we'll take a look, and we're going to see what happens inside of your name here. But this one's tough because this one is that same problem that John Robert Darrell has, is that I fight myself, but I don't tell anybody. Or the inner battle is going on, and I just kind of keep quiet to it. It can get spiritually caught up in that. And then, oh, no, nothing to see here. I'm just not going to take myself seriously. We can't expect wealth from a number like this, even though we do expect not only wealth, long-term wealth for the people that you lead, not just you. Like, you got a big thing going on here. You're going to help a lot of people with this, especially with a number born like this. But right now, Dustin Michael Lamphere, the bearded architect, is not allowing you to access those bigger numbers, dude. Like, it's like we're missing the value that you were destined to be here with. My personal opinion, Dustin U. Lamphere takes you here. So you would take a vibration of spiritual, a vibration of business, a vibration of spiritual, a vibration of family. I have this number. This is the one that Bobby uses, 876, okay? Then we also have C or L. So you could take it right here. That's 516, C or L. This one is all about leadership, passion. It's all about the love, the warrior, the leadership, but it's a bit more of that fighter. So it's kind of like a mix between the 6 and the 1 here and the 5 here. You show up with a bunch of fight. You show up with a bunch of leadership, independence, and he absolutely loves, cares, and fights for the people he loves and cares about. There is the other side of this that says, look, I got my business, my family, and my intuition, and I'm a bit more of that longer-term game. But this is what we're looking at inside of Dustin Lamphere within your short versions of name. There is another one, N or W. So N or W, and then another one, the letter E, would show up like this, E. So you could go Dustin E. Lamphere, Dustin N or W. Lamphere, or Dustin C or L, or Dustin U. So on this side, passion, independence, and then heart, love. Then here we have fun and fast. Let's just get this thing moving. Maybe a fun little number to take, but it would more be like just satisfying for a few minutes, like maybe 6 months, 12 months, and then you'd probably end up growing out of it. I would imagine you won't stay there for long. And then you could even take the other road and say, I'm going to be a bit more quiet and calm about this. I got a wizard's beard. I may show up with a wizard vibe. And this is where this one shows up a little bit more of the calm and collected. Or you can go in for the giant version of you. Do any one of these letters pick out to you more than the other?
It's kind of the U and the E. It's just saying it, like trying to picture it with having the U or the E in there. It's like what doesn't really grab me, but more the vibration of like the long term. Like I know the long term that I want to build, but it's exactly like you said. I'm in my own way, and I'm causing more conflict with myself than with anything else.
So let's find another thing you could use instead of the letter U. So let's try. Let's just try it. Let's go. Do you use Dusty or Dust or anything like that? No,
just Dust.
Okay, so let's go Dustin Mike. Okay, so here's another version for you, and I'm glad I'm doing this one here. Dustin Mike. Okay, so there's another version for you right here inside of Global Vision. All right, but it does disconnect you now from the heart a little bit, so might not be the best way to go around this. There is also something you could use around the letter U. Let's just try it here. 393. So let's just take a look and see what that would look like. I have a handy little book of names. We're going to take a look and see what this would look like. 393, where are you? So taking a look at options, and this would also be a conversation that we may want to get a little bit down deeper into it. But you could go Dustin Justin Lamphere, Dustin Quinn, Dustin Alexander, Dustin Francesco, or Dustin Ruby. So there are other words for you to use in case you're. I could take something like that. What about? Would you consider something like Dustin? Let's just take a look at this one. Dustin. Yeah. Okay. So we're coming into a bit of a challenge here. So you could use like the word RIU. So Dustin Ryu Lamphere, or we could even spell Dustin with a U inside of this, right? Or you can go Dustin Lamphere like this, would show up, or Lamphere like that. You know, there would be, or I probably wouldn't go Dustin like that, but there are ways to do that in case you are looking to do something like that. If in case it's the E, what are we looking at? E. What's ER? Let's try that one. 595. So let's try this one, and let's see if we can.
I like the look of the single letter. Just it seems more natural than just because my names are already long. I have a long last name.
Yep.
I like you and like what you said about it. It's just because you could mean a bunch of things. Like I started thinking it was like U for universe, and like you said, it's the vibration of like the spiritual.
Let's talk about for a second here how this would look inside of your name. And let's just hold it here for a minute. So let it grow on you. Let's pretend you're like, you know what, I'm gonna do it. Who cares? I'm just gonna figure this out and see how this really hits you. Okay? See how this really hits you to think. Your business speaks up front. And this is the number that I use. This is the number that got me out of drugs and out of like getting fired all the time. I took this number and I put my business up front. Then I also have my spiritual side inside of me, the temple within. And from there, I build this 6 as loving, strong, loving levels of communication. And that's basically where I'm at with the number like this. Really, absolutely strong. And if people ask you, what does it mean? You can say it stands for universe, and it also helps the numerological aspect of my name. I'm spiritually aligned with the number like this. I'm connected to the vortex. It's really what that really is telling us. Because if you look at the numbers, 8, 7, and 6 are like the top block of all of the bigger stuff that we go through. So to know that that's there for you is really powerful. I think that this is one of the bigger names that you should be considering or taking. This one here, however, and if you want to change it, you can, but you did mention it twice. Just let it grow on you and sign it out. See if it works. If it really doesn't, we'll absolutely connect when we do, but we can come up with something new or something different. Dustin Lamphere, the Bearded Architect. As awesome as this sounds, it's not helping your vibration to have a 999. It's like out of the planet. It's not connected. You are like invisible with a name like this. Even though it sounds really cool, I just want to take a look. What about the Bearded Architect? I just want to see what that would look like on its own. See, alone, the Bearded Architect works really well. So if you were to create a page or a group or a brand and just have the Bearded Architect, you'd be fine. If you were to go out there and be like, I'm Justin Lamphere, this is the Bearded Architect, or I am the Bearded Architect, and you kind of just like rip them beside each other a little bit, that would be much better. Not Dustin Lamphere or Dustin U Lamphere, the Bearded Architect wouldn't work. If you want to keep this in one string, I would be putting the X right in the middle. This turns this 5 into 966. You monetize this. You build an audience around this. People want to see what you got to say. They want to be around you. They want to build their family around you. And you just put that one quick little letter in there, and that's basically it. Could be even the letter F. could be the letter O, but I would say the letter X because it just looks the coolest, and it's more or less a powerful looking number for absolute balance. But without it, you're running the most difficult number literally in all of numerology. When I do this, like, it's actually literally at the bottom. Like, this is so invisible. It's so hard. It's like you got to spend like hundreds of lifetimes in order to figure out a name like that. So I would be considering you either take it out, you put the U in there, or you take the letter X, you put it in there, or you take Dustin Lamphere out and you put just the Bearded Architect. How are you feeling about that business name?
I like the Bearded Architect. It just kind of came to me. I've changed. Here's kind of the thing, since essentially I changed my business page twice, so I can't change my name. But I've had some type of like confliction with it, like having my name and the Bearded Architect versus just my name or the Bearded Architect, as far as like marketing purposes before any like of the numerology. So it's interesting that it shows not being a connection, because I've had a lot of confliction with it, and I've thought about making a whole new page just to try to release some of that.
Yeah, I would say don't use the word try and create a new page. It will release all of that. It'll feel brand freaking new, but you got a choice to make. You either put them both with the X, or you take one of them out, or you just go Dustin U Lamphere. In my opinion, is probably the best one, but up to you. What do you think?
I like probably my first with just my first last name, because then it shows up the same across everything versus
like
coming off as like a marketing.
So Dustin U Lamphere. Okay, cool. Looks solid, man. Honestly, I like it's crazy because now your name matches your life path. Like, as a life path 6, you're holding a 6 name. It works really well. You're gonna feel the unlock and the lack of conflict, and it'll also, you could always still start. You say, I am the Bearded Architect. You saying the words the Bearded Architect. It came to you for a reason. It will let you build. It's an architect's name. It says, let's do this. Let's build it. Let's get this going, and let's keep it running. And that's a wonderful vibe, but putting it all together kind of messes it all up. Any questions?
No, look forward to doing a more personal session and getting into it for sure.
Cool. All right, let's do this. I'm just going to make sure we do this, and we're going to get this in here. And I also wanted to make sure, I'm going to do this to John too. We're going to just rename your video, and we're going to go John X, Sonia, Daryl. Cool. And we had Mike Q. Evans already do that. Rich Hazlitt's got it. Okay, so let's go into Margaret. Now, this one was a really intense-looking chart. Like, oh, my God. And I was like, no wonder there is, like, this is a big challenge because she didn't have the D in her name, right, Margaret? You were running without it. And to see that you've got this here, this is, like, sincere levels of power, okay? Like, massive levels of wealth. If you, and I was even telling this to you earlier, and I'm telling this to you again, the world needs to see this. You need to understand this. Everyone needs to get this about you. If you don't make money, if you don't create that wealth in your life, you've got a very difficult conversation to have with yourself. This thing wants to be extraordinarily magnetically successful. Like, what you touch needs to turn into gold. And it's funny how before, without the D, it wasn't going into that direction. Being born, Malgorzata Pachla, this is going to be an angel, okay? So we have angel vibration showing up inside of your birth name. You were born this way. To have angel here, 11-9 or 9-11, it's an emergency healer. You're going to run in and save the day. And this is going to be a really difficult number to run. You did change it to Kawa. You did change it into Dabowski. You've gone through changes and shifts, but it never takes us far from this old soul vibration of angel on earth, okay? And I know you. I've known you, and this makes sense to me. The amount of love and care and love that you give is there, but then there's this undertone of intelligence behind you that's like, oh, I see the potential in this business, or I see the power for me, or I see it in, I know that there's a power in there. But then using, like before, it could have been just like Margaret Dabowski or Malgorzata Dabowski. Without the vibration of it being able to express itself, we're moving into the negative. Let's just take a move back in here. Up until 55 years old, you're inside of a vibration. You're like, hey, wait a second. That's like, is that this year or next year? Or was it a year ago?
A year ago.
So as of a year ago, you were finally moved into your state of like, look, you know what? I'm going to do what's right for me. I'm done. I've got to make sure I take care of myself. Because there's been a lot of disassociation from yourself. This could have turned into a lot of depression and a lot of not actualizing on how smart you were, because of how much this 8 doesn't get a chance to express itself inside of your name. It's just way, 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 way too smart. And then when we take a look at from one name to the next, it may not have been able to unload itself the way it needs to. When we look at 8s over 8s, this is like, Tom, when she says something, when she snaps her fingers, you better, you know what I mean? Like, you know that you got to do what she got to tell you to do. And
yes, dear. Yes, dear.
Yes, dear. And he's going to be really good at that. He's going to have a lot of fun making your day and absolutely bringing the love and the joy and the romance into your chart. I get it. But it's nice to know that you guys share this conversation, this sincere, serious level of intelligence, this powerful level of independence. It shows up inside of your chart. Okay, Margaret? Now, this 8 over 8 over 8, it's like you got a really large wand. Like, you can really magnetize a lot. So first things first, we want to make sure, because we gave you a letter, and I don't know if you feel like changing it, because this is like, oh, I found it. We're going to talk about what you really did find. I didn't know that this was underneath here until a few minutes ago. But when you have a really large wand like this, and this goes for everybody now. You all got 8s in your chart. Some of you don't. Some of you have 6s. Same deal. This goes for all of you guys. What you say is going to happen. What you say is going to happen. That's why I want you to have a really loving conversation with your journal, or go into the Allied Forces group if you're too self-conscious about posting this on your personal page. It's fine. Go into the group at some point. I challenge you, if you're watching this live or watching the replay, I challenge you to go out there and be like, whatever, the numerology challenge or whatever. Let's call it the vision challenge. Go out there and tell the world, tell the forces, tell the people, what does it look like when you've succeeded? What does it look like when you're looking at your house of your dreams? When you're looking at the cars of your dreams, and the vacations and the boats and the helicopters and the all of the stuff, and where are you going, and what things do you contribute to? What life do you give life to? What schools do you put your kids into? 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 4 minutes, 5 minutes. Go on record, especially with other high-vibing people who are inside of the family, and make a declaration of what your vision wants to do. You don't have to do it. I'm not going to make you and be like, anyone who doesn't do it's a rotten egg. But I will tell you this. When you put out what you're feeling and what you're experiencing and what you want to experience inside of your world, I promise you something, the world pays attention. It's a law of magnetism. And this is where we get a chance to see the wizard herself. So for you, Margaret, is one of the most important things to recognize is that what you say is going to happen. And if your names aren't working towards your advantage, you may not be saying the best things about yourself, about your health, about the way that you want to treat yourself and others. It could be a leaky conversation. You have to make sure, oh, this doesn't serve me. Oh, bad thought. Okay, delete, delete, delete. Or upgrade that, or move it into a new version. Does this serve me? Is this, like, you get mad and you're like, oh, stupid thing. You don't do that anymore. Or like, oh, I wish this would just get its stuff together. You have to find the silver lining in things. Or like, I wish Tom would just take me seriously for once. And, realizing Tom doesn't take anything seriously. Never. He just doesn't. He's just a fun guy. He's gonna be, yeah, exactly. And to think that that's going to be there, you have to make sure you understand that your words carry a magnetic and a spiritual weight unlike anyone else inside of this conversation. And this is a really difficult number to hold. But it also has come to its point now. 55 years old. Like, okay. And imagine this. 0 to 27, we all come of age. We all turn into something. You don't. Everyone else gets a shift in their chart. You don't. You continue on. As a little girl, yours is 0 to 55. Your childhood is 0 to 55. And from 0 to 55, you've been running an adult vibration. Now you enter your childhood vibration. And it's weird to talk about this because the 8 is the larger side and the 1 is the smaller side. But the 1 is where you turn into an adult when you should be turning into a senior sometime. You're like, don't say that word again. You never become a senior citizen. You only go into your adulthood and that's it. You don't get a third stage in life. You only get 2. And so your second stage is fine, I'm an adult now, but you're a leader and you will absolutely shine on for others and want to be in charge and be like a little sick and tired of getting pushed around a little. I'm going to stand up for what I want. That 1 wants to do that. I was lucky to find it when I was 27. And, Dustin's lucky to have it up front. Rich is absolutely blessed to have it up there as well. But the reality is that even Tom, he gets the chance to use it inside of the middle part of his life. He's still in it right now. But the reality here that we're looking at is that you now find your own independence, your own leadership. You are ready to lead. And it's been a tough battle having those 888s if you haven't experienced the wealth you were looking for. But here's where it comes into vision clarity. So now we look towards your name. And we talked about this. I'm like, you need to put the letter in there. We need to put something on top. And we put the letter D. Mm-hmm. The letter D connects 2 very important pieces of your puzzle. The first one that it connects is the fact that you got angel right there. You got angel right up front, and it shows up to connect first things first. You were born with this number. That's a spiritual number of connection. You may go through some loss. You may go through some difficulty in relationship up front, but it will pay off when you find a guy like Tom. He's a great guy. That feeling is in there to think, look, I've paid my dues. Where is my prince? And this is where he comes in. So it's fun how that whole thing works out is that, yeah, great, you may have had to go through a tough time in life, but it pays off. Then we balance out by having a number that leads back to your life path. So I got a nice little bing, bing, bing in the background. That feeling makes me think, okay, cool, we've got a connection point we're talking about that makes us feel like we're hitting the nose on the head here. Or we're hitting it on the head. And this feeling of the 8 and the 11 brings your life path and your original story back in. I think we nailed it inside of a business name, inside of a personal name. Did you have any questions about your chart, though, or about your names? Did you want to go back in and maybe talk about what Margaret would look like with Dubowski, or what, dare I say, Fulton would look like on your I don't know. But
I'm curious.
went a little too far there.
Well, you can say about Margaret, but I think you mentioned something before, but we can go back to Margaret. Why not?
Let's just take a quick look and see what this looks like. And let's go Margaret Dubowski, and let's see what we got here. So that we would, if you were to take Margaret Dubowski, I would be either doing the letter F, X, O, or H, Q, or Z. So you could take one of those letters if you took Margaret, but along the same lines of where you're at right now, I would say that you're in for a big shift here. This one would probably be fun to watch. You go into the highest levels of your being, that all the 8s come into focus, and you go Margaret H or Margaret Z, Dubowski, wow, would be a very strong feel. Or on the more queen side, we would take a vibration here that says, look, I want to be very powerful for wealth, but I also want to have a very strong love life, like a long-term love life. So there you could choose one of those inside of your letters for Margaret Dubowski, but I wouldn't just use it on its own. Margaret Dubowski will be invisible. And you've done that. You were holding on to that name for a while. People know you like this. They know you as Margaret Dubowski. They may not always know you as Malgorzata. So when you're going out there, I'm Margaret Dubowski, you're kind of like hiding and turning invisible and melting into the background. and it's not showing up front. So I would probably never, actually not probably, I would absolutely never use that again. Unless you put the H, Q, Z, F, X, or O inside of Margaret Dabowski, don't use that just 2 words on its own. It's not serving you. It's going to absolutely hurt you, okay?
Okay.
Cool. Any questions at all?
No, I'm good. I ordered my card with D, so I'm happy. It's coming.
Yeah, absolutely. Me too. It melts the 2 pieces of you together in a really wonderful, loving vibration. It speaks of God power. Okay. So, and you're very wizard-like in your power as well. Let's see you go and get it, because this is really where this turning point comes, and you're like, I'm ready to do this. All right, let's go back into Tommy's number. So now, Thomas,
there's one thing that I think I made a mistake on. The business name is actually the same as my full name at birth. Okay, so my fan page name is actually and I've been using in a lot of my posts I've been using Thomas L. Fulton in that, but my Facebook page, the one that I started way back when I wasn't even using Facebook, is Tom Fulton. So yeah, right now as you have it is accurate. So
okay, so make sure, because I want to take a look at this. I'm going to go Tom Fulton with an L. Tom L. Fulton will work really well. Thomas L. Fulton goes over the edge now. So we want to make sure we distinguish if you use the letter L, because we had this conversation before, that you make sure it's only with Tom, and it's not actually with Thomas. Now, there is another version of this, and I want to make sure that this no, okay, let's take this out. Where is it? Thomas Fulton would look like this, were it spelt with a T. So in case you wanted to run something like that, 426, that's another option. But let's talk about this guy. So this is, guys, this is Peter Pan himself, okay? He's never getting older. And like what was maybe once very mature back in his very, very early young days as a kid is long gone. He's decided and settled at childlike behavior. And, he's a very fun guy. I got a chance to meet with him as well in person. I appreciate you doing that, man. But when we're looking at the Life Path 3, always has jokes, always wants to keep the energy light and lively. Even Tom Fulton does this as well. It's inside of Thomas here. Literally, all of your names hold a 3 in them. And even your birthday holds double 3s. There's going to be a dancer, a romancer, someone who's fun and loving, and always just wants to keep the sweet parts of you up front. So it's nice, especially when, if you're like, inside of Margaret's energy, you're going to be like the heartbeat to her life. Like, it's going to be a very loving feeling. But when we look at this, and I don't mean to be this like a power couples reading for a second, you guys have the same numbers in your chart. It's just a bit condensed because get it, Tom wants to get all the tough stuff out of the way first. Say, quickly, done. And the more time I have to enjoy my life, the better. And this is where you're in a really sweet spot you're about to get into. You have about a year left, right? This is like 54 this year.
Coming up.
You got about a year and a half left of this leadership vision that you have inside of this number, of doing your own thing and absolutely being, there will be a time where your leadership candle fades and it wants to just enter in the fun. And watch what happens in a year. You're just gonna and turn around and go back and regress into your childish ways and their childlike wonder and your very like joyful version of you. Okay, like it does not prescribe to getting older in life, but you got a really deep gem hidden underneath the foundation of your being is that you're smart, and you may, and it's not, I don't know how you call this. It may be that you're hiding your intelligence, and you know you're a smart guy. You know you're a really powerful being for like manifestation energy. But these 3s are like, it's all good, no worries about me, no big deal, having a great time. But then underneath is also the very keen eye that can see things in a little bit of a deeper scale, a little bit of a deeper level. So I'm glad you got me a chance to do this with you, because to see that this thing shows up the way it does inside of your chart and hers, it's a wonderful feeling. So what we want to do is we want to find a way to move this over. So one way was to take the letter L, right? We had C or L. Tom, C or Tom L. Fulton. You could also do Thomas A. Fulton. Okay. There is also Tom U. Fulton, which would look like 5, 6, 2, 8. In case you wanted to get serious, which is like very difficult for me to consider that you would do that. Like I'm done having fun. I just want to, become serious now. I like and be like, okay, well, she took 11, 6, 8. So you could take 6, 11, 8. And like, oh, we're doubling over. So I don't see a need for you to take something like this because she's already done that, and you're playing the fun card really, really well right now. Were you to take Tom C. Fulton or Tom L. Fulton, now we have the 3, the 8 coming into perspective, plus the 5, the 3 coming into perspective with the 3, 5, and the 8. You take care of the fun and the fast. She's going to take care of the godlike surrounding power underneath. This is a very strong, powerful couple vibration for sure, that we get a chance to see this inside of your business. There is also Thomas Fulton with an H, but that would be really boring. It would be very boring. And you'd be like, Bobby, you're killing me here. And I'm like, I'm sorry, bro. I didn't mean to do this to you. You're like, man, I want to go back to my fun zone. And this is where we would go in. So any questions there for you, bro?
No, man, that makes a lot of sense.
Okay, so can we do this? Because I know you didn't change your name. And I'm like, what's going on? Like you came out here, we did it, we got it done. Can we do Tom L. Fulton and just run with it? Or is there a resistance against it somewhere?
No, I was using Thomas L. Fulton, but Tom L. Fulton. So that was my part. That was my confusion. Like I was using Thomas L. Fulton in a lot of my posts, but no, this helps clarify things. Like
okay. And then for Thomas Fulton, you could do the same thing and go Thomas A. Fulton, or if you want, we just go Tom L. Fulton if you've been using that.
Yeah, I like that.
That's the one? Okay, cool. Yep. Let's do it. Nice. All right, here we go. Are you guys ready for this? This is it. The big game, the big one running. Kev, you ready for this, man? He's like, he messaged me before. He's like, you didn't tell me anything different than what I learned the first time. I'm like, I think so. I'd like to think so. But at the same time, I also wanted you guys to know what you're dealing with, okay? This is going to be one of the biggest, most powerful things you guys can understand is that this is where your leadership comes from. And this is what your banner looks like in the sky. And this is why everyone wants to run into battle underneath Kevin behind him. We have a really strong name. So as we do this, I just want to thank you so much, dude, for letting me for do this for your team and to help your team find the groove and find their way, because this has been one of the most powerful experiences. You got a whole new imagine the cadets just got all their guns and their bullets and their camo vests and their all of their stuff. They're ready for war now. They are absolutely ready to create wealth inside of their visions, and to think that this is where this all started, guys. This is where this all started. So let's take a look at this. First of all, Life Path 1, big surprise. He's a leader. He does not care what you think. He does not care what you think. He is going anyway. You are going anyway. Okay. So, but here's the conundrum, if you will. Sorry for the big words, Kev. Here's the challenge. Here's the big idea. You care a lot. You care more than anyone else. And on the other side, you could not be bothered by the opinions of others. What other people think of this man is none of his business. He's like, so what? I don't give a shit. And it's funny because of the things you post sometimes. I'm like, oh, man. And even before when we were at the party, and I'm going to explain what happened there. But, when we went down to Cabo, there was this feeling of I want to stand up for the guy who can, smoke weed and still be successful in my business. And I'm like, hell yeah, you're an inspiration to us all, brother. And that feeling was inside of there to think it's no compromise. I'm going to be who I am. I'm absolutely who I am. And this is one of the most powerful things we can expect from this. You will conspire leadership around you. There will be no other. This is a Life Path 1. If you find more Life Path 1s in your group, you're going to want to make sure, especially here, all of the other bits and pieces of 1, you're going to want to make sure that you understand there's a reason that they admire you. because this guy shows up as the Don, the actual Papa Kev. All right. Now, the other side of this is going to be this grandfather style energy of love. His heart is bigger than anything else that he has. And like the 9 inside of you connects you to animals. It connects you to nature. It connects you to the world, the earth. It connects you so deep to the value of fighting for what people need and fight. Like you're going into war with the Allied forces against the war that people have in their minds, the war they have with their paycheck, the war that they're facing inside of their daily lives. The 9 says we're going to shift and we're going to change the world. 9 and 1 are the opposite numbers. It's a yin-yang experience. So it's for the first 27 years of your life, you may be feeling like that superhero mode, ultimate sacrifice for someone else, or I give and I care and I give and I've got the world on my shoulders. So there's going to be a strong value of that up front. Turn 27 and that's it. There is no more shift. You also do not become an old man. There is no old man for Kevin. That was it. When you were a kid. Now you turn into an adult and you enter your master warrior. It's funny how we see this because 5 + 5 is 10, which is 1 again. So we see the second and third part of your life showing up like a name. It shows up like a name to have inside of this. Your birthday says the name. Let's see if I can see it. Let's find the coolest looking name for your birthday to make sure you have it. And then that way you know it's yours. But I'm just going to take a look and see. Where is it? 551. It shows up as Rex. So that's what your life path says. It says Rex. It says Ted. Okay, it says that's probably the only coolest names out there. Other than that, Dennis. But having a birthday that says a name, it shows up like some sort of an old soul purpose. That you were here to cut through the bullshit, to cut through the crap, and absolutely get it done. No excuses. If any of you ever come to an excuse for Kevin, let that be the only time you ever do that, ever. Like you'll learn very quickly that you don't do that shit around him, okay? Because the 5 is like, so what? Like, just do something else then. There's always, I've got to win. There is never coming second. There's never losing. You will absolutely always have to rise like a champion up top. Then we have Kevin Alexander Melnick. This guy never quits. He does not stop. Like this is like a really fast car with no brakes, all right? Like when we see this, it's like, work to the bone, work until you're blue in the face, and then never stop. So the ambition and the passion in this, it shows up much the way that your guys' group shows up. Structure, there's going to be a discipline, a balance, there's going to be leadership, and then there's also going to be a shift that you go through while you're inside of the forces. Okay, so go into class, find your sensation of leadership, and then also make a movement inside of your life. This may be your next target because you've got a really solid name. I would imagine that something may want to shift here or change here. But I was also wondering, I'm like, okay, because he's got a really solid name. So could we have picked the right name? Is there something else for you later? I'm just going to double check and see here. I wanted to take a look at this. Let's put it this way. Kevin Alex Melnick also shows up with balance and vibration. So you could take something like this, just in case you're ready or interested in moving your numbers around and having a bit more of an authentic vibe, to move yourself into more of a quiet and wisdom version of you. This isn't the fighter. This is more of the wizard or the thinker or the guy who's on the top of the tower looking. That may challenge you a little bit because you're more in the trenches. You absolutely want to be there for the fight. But I did want to give you that option to say there is something in there that actually has your name on it that is balanced, numerologically aligned for you, in case there was something you wanted to actually continue or go through or absolutely walk into. But with this name, Kevin E.J. Melnick, it literally brings on the power of God. And this is a very strong connection that not only does he give a damn, he cares, absolutely cares. His ego isn't a part of it. His ego may be big. This guy's got a really loving, large sense of himself, but don't get it twisted. He will lay his heart and his life down for anyone inside of his business. Now, Allied Forces is not a balanced name. It requires leadership in order to get it running. And that's why I'm not afraid to let you guys have a name like this, to see it run into success. It says, let's come in with business. This is where you find your partnership, your mentorship to get it happening. And we're going to grow leaders here. Without a name like this and a person like this running inside of this, a name like this wouldn't fly. And I'd be like, we need to change this, dude. You got to find out something else. It's going to be something else that goes through it. But this will work because you do. And that feeling is inside of it. But no one's going to work as much as you do in this. Sorry, go for it. You want to add?
I'm just, I couldn't help but notice that this chart looks a lot like our water. That's red. My name is purple. This one is red. So if we were to change or had to or whatever, what options could there be? Because that would be more what I would be looking for at this point. I don't really feel like going from purple to blue right now. But if we can get Allied Forces into a different whatever. I mean, yeah. I did just get shares printed. It was fucking But yeah, man, like if there's something that we could add to it or change, yeah, basically if there was something that we could add to it, an initial.
So, Allied Force X would work really well. And then if we wanted to change something around, let's try. Allied looks to be the word, but let's just try something like group. No, let's talk about the mastermind. No, let's talk about the Allied movement. Also, is not that movementy.
What about Freedom Boot Camp?
Freedom Boot Camp. Let's try it. Okay, let's see this. It would be Freedom Boot Camps or Freedom's Boot Camp. You need an S in there. So it would be like this. Freedom's Boot Camp would be a really powerful word. Let's just pop that back into the black so we can see it. Or Freedom Boot Camps. Like to have that one run as well would be really well. But this is like an evolution of what you guys are dealing with. It has the 2 and the 8 again, but it now balances itself up and pulling people inside of this, Freedom Boot Camps or Freedom's Boot Camp. Or that would be like a strong version inside of you, inside of your team. But let's see what else we got. Let's see, Allied. How about Allied Freedom?
Yeah, Freedom Allies, maybe.
Freedom Allies. I like that one. Okay. Nope. Okay. How about the Allied Freedom Forces? Or let's just try that one. Okay, that's another one that works really well. Let's just quickly decline that. Sorry, guys. Hold on here. Allied Freedom Forces works pretty well as well. Okay, this would be a solid place to boot camp your people into the place they need to go. Like, no messing around. Like, this is like literally you get in there and you're ready to sweat your limiting beliefs out until you're crying to mommy. And that's like a strong, like, Allied Freedom Forces. Whoop. So would be like the boot camp of all boot camps, like God's boot camp. And if you're looking at this, with all of these numbers in there, it would really be fitting to be something like that. Is there another one in there? Freedom Forces. Oh, dude, these are good. Okay, so now Freedom Forces. Now this one is even better. This one, instead of Allied Forces, Freedom Forces, what? That's like the most perfect name for a team. You create a kingdom from this, like the kingdom of God. This isn't the boot camp of God anymore. Like the challenge is in there. Boot camp. Like some people are like, my limiting belief. Here it's more like I'm growing through it. We're gonna move forward from it. Freedom Forces. Whoa. Like that's like the money ticket, money winner. That one right there. Just so you guys.
Sounds like it, eh?
Yeah.
Is it purple? Is it purple?
It's definitely purple. It's a mastery name. It's like when we look at it, it's right up here. Like last row on the top, it basically says, I love, I care, I give, and I serve my people with absolute love, and they grow with love. So instead of just growing with passion and fire, it's more like growing from the heart. Okay, like the
Everyone, undo your things. What do you think? Just
I love it.
Yeah.
let's hear some people. What are you guys thinking?
yeah. I want to hear you guys. What do you think? Just off the top.
Love it.
Travis,
I like it. I like it.
everyone likes it. Okay, anyone that how about anyone that doesn't like it or feels like we're missing it?
Yeah.
Well, let's hear someone from the other side.
Any hesitation? Anything?
You know what you could do?
I gotta be honest. I think because here was my dilemma when I did it. When I created the Team Allied Forces, I did it in a time where I was watching nothing but World War II stuff, and it was great, and I love it, and I really, really do. And I was playing a lot of Call of Duty and Battlefield. But I was. And I put, we put some time and whatever into it, but yeah, I other than all the branding on all the fucking videos, which yeah, but I do like the idea of changing the name. So what we'll probably do is what we'll probably do is we need to figure out a date. Figure out the best date to change the name on. Can we do that? Quick, is there a way that we can do that? Do you have the fucking powers?
I have the fucking powers, man. So it would be any day that's, let's say you're on the 22nd right now. So if you could, if you wanted to do it, like, and I know you're a man of action, you're like, when's the next day?
Not the next day. Because here's the thing. This is what I'm thinking. I'm thinking in my head, running the shirts the way it is, because it's like, I want there to be a record of the Allied Forces, of how it was built. The original people that have the original shirts. Because like you said, 2, 3, 4 years down the road, everyone has new branding. Everything's new. It's like, oh, yeah, man, I was in way before. You know what I mean? And that's going to happen.
Yep.
So I want to run through these things because it's like a tattoo, and I want like an imprint that I know this happened with this. We built this brand. And then we'll come together as a team, and we'll do a freedom. We'll do a, what is it? Freedom what?
Freedom Forces.
Freedom Forces. And we'll get a brand. We'll get a team brand, team logo that everybody likes. That's the new evolution of it from this point on. And then we'll do other branding and shirts, and we can change the shit and change the training and do a whole bunch of new stuff. But I like knowing where the next step was, because I got to be honest. It's so funny because I came in skeptical again. I do. Same thing. I'm like, hey, Bobby, like, can you actually tell me anything different than this other lady? I'm like, really? I'm like, you gotta impress me. And I hear it and stuff, and then, it's like I look at them right now, and the Allied Forces is good, but it's strong and it's a little harsh. Freedom Forces is way more open, and I feel like the forces at the end of it is a lot softer. And if it works, and the thing is my whole thing, again, and this isn't like just my perspective of what we do from my experience up until this point, is trying to give people the feeling of the freedom of like when you wake up. And literally, it's so funny. Laura's like, it's 8:30, Kevin. Get up. The news is almost over. And I'm like, and I'm laying there. I'm like, I'm sore because I was golfing yesterday. And it's not like, I'm making $1 million a month and I'm on a yacht in, whatever. But you just get to be free. And that's all I've ever wanted, is just to be free. It's just to be able to do what I want and to live how I want and not to worry, and then be able to give back and feel secure. And I literally, an adjective is giving me this life. So at the end of the day, I think that Freedom Forces looks awesome. And I think we could do a new logo. And this will give us the direction to take our next training.
Oh, yeah. The next evolution of your guys' group creation is going to be night and day.
Yeah.
Like, nothing wrong with Battlefield and Call of Duty, but like that was a timestamp of where you were at, and you guys have fought. I would say do your best, everyone. Not do your best. Buy the T-shirt. Get the Allied Forces. Be part of the legacy team to make sure you know that was there and you were there. I got the T-shirt, and you absolutely like survived the ride, and now you're part of the Freedom Forces. And I mean, I would keep with the militant attitude and that feeling of you, but at the same time, ain't nobody fighting you guys anymore. Like there's no like I'm combatant anymore. So you rule, you will rule, and that's a different conversation. Freedom Forces is like
I love it, man. Because the thing is it takes effort.
Yeah.
There's no joking around, and a lot of people. We're so nice and friendly, but no, like, and I tell people, like, this is a business. Like, the people on my team, you invest into me as a coach. I invest into you. I expect a return. This is a business. It takes some force. It takes some effort. Sometimes you got to get up and do things you don't want to do. But the freedom at the end, when you let go of the bar and the whole world floats away from you and you're just like, whew.
You don't come back down.
I'm so glad that's gone. And you're gone and you're free. No one ever chases their job back. I'll tell you that. I've never met anyone chase their job back.
Nope. They don't want it.
I love it, man. I really, really, really love it.
Yeah, it clicks and feels really good. And it's almost like a vibe as big as your heart kind of thing. You know what I mean?
And what is FF?
So Freedom Forces, right? FF. Let's try it that way.
Just because that is a cool thing for branding a double F.
Yeah, the double F will be like inviting and social and creative. So it's going to be a feeling that people are like, hey, cool. What do they want to be invited into it. So on a logo, if it just went FF, it would look really solid. How about even just F Forces? I'm just going to try that.
So many different things you can do with double Fs.
Don't use Freedom F or F Forces. Don't abbreviate one of the Freedom or the Forces. It's either Freedom Forces or condense it down to FF.
Yeah.
Cool.
Freedom Forces or FF. That's perfect.
And as for the day, quickly side note, Kevin, this is a massive year for you financially. Okay, just so you know, you're probably like, no shit.
I'm counting on that. I've been counting on that, bro. I'm like, when I start knocking into things in this townhouse, and I'm like, yeah, literally, I'm like, I need a bigger house.
You do, but this is a big year for you. Any day that adds up to an 8. So in July, it'll be like July 7 or hold on, 14, 5, 7, 5. July 7, July 16, or July 25, or depending on how, I'm not sure. Sorry?
After September the 9th.
After September, it'll be, let's see here, 9/3. It'll be September 14, September 23.
Fuck, that's my birthday.
There you go.
Okay, we'll do it on my birthday.
Yeah, September 23rd is when you guys got Freedom Forces coming through. And hey, you guys are in a sprint right now, right? So 100-day sprint to September. Is that the whole point?
Yeah.
Yep. Save it for them.
Yeah, no, that's.
But get ready for that, because the graduation of that is like we won.
This is what I'm talking about. This is why we do this shit. I love it.
Yep.
I feel different. I want it. Okay.
Yeah, you feel, and you can feel it. I can feel it inside of the people inside of here, like and they're feeling the energy as well. But guys, this was a pleasure. This was absolutely an honor. I appreciate you guys. so much for letting me do this with you. It's been a lot of fun. Are there any questions before we get going, before I let go of the recording? Any other questions or anything in there that anybody wanted to cover or clarify before we call it a day?
Just one real quick. I was thinking about branding like Freedom Allies.
Freedom
right along.
Allies.
That would run right alongside.
If you went Freedom Ally, that would work. But Freedom Allies needs something else, like A Freedom Allies or Freedom Allies A or Freedom A Allies or Freedom Allies. Yeah, it's one short. But then if you went Freedom Ally, that would be the very, very powerful one. It's tough because Freedom Ally doesn't actually express the same feeling behind it, but you may be a little bit more back to the drawing board with it.
Yep, not a problem.
Man, this is so much fun. I love it. Seriously, guys.
How about
5 years later, do this again, and I come in, I'm like, I went through this the first time. What can we do? And as soon as I saw the name down at the bottom, and I saw it was one of the only red ones, and I was like, shit. But that's so cool. I'm so excited because what do I do that's not too far off, but how can we change it? And it's got to be freedom is what it's all about. Financial freedom, just mental freedom, just the freedom to be yourself so freedom force.
It's kind of like a school that's also a family. So you'll go in there to learn your ass off, but you're going to feel really rewarded for it. And it's going to feed families. And the freedom is like taking kids to Disneyland kind of stuff. Like, that's what that is.
I love it. I think I'm so excited. And then we'll get to do a new logo and everything.
Yeah.
And then
we have the birthday gift
stuff, like the old school Connect stuff and then the new school stuff. Fuck yeah, man. I love it. All right. Awesome. I'm excited. Honestly, and again, this is, now it's like, I know progression. We'll go to the rest of the team on Wednesday, and we'll toss it up there. And I'm sure there's a lot of people that'll watch this recording. And what's up, everybody? Put a comment down below on what you think. If you love it, put love it. If you hate it, put hate it.
Not in the Zoom chat, though, because everyone in the Zoom chat loves that. We're talking about when you post replay. And also, I wanted to throw it down because there's only a small group here. I'm doing another group, and there may be another group that happens inside of here as well. So for anyone else who's watched this or watched the replay, you're like, well, can we do this again? Because I want to get like the second version of this. In 6 months, all you guys are 5As anyways, at least. So there's going to be a brand new legion of people who are going to be there ready to go. So it would be a good idea to do this again. But I love it. You guys have made like a really strong home for me here. And I appreciate you guys so much for letting me do this for you.
Thanks for coming on board, man.
Absolutely. All right, guys, we're going to cut it. You guys have a great rest of your day. Kev, any last words?
No, just again, just thank you guys for showing up. And I hope you feel as good as I do, because I'm leaving today. What are we going to do next? What are we doing in September? And it's like nothing but growth and striving forward, man. Again.
Look at this. All of your people inside of here are lined up now. They're all ready to rock. All right?
Do it.
All right, guys. Have a great rest of your day. Enjoy your weekend. Take care. Bye.
Have a good weekend.
Hey, guys.